we mark our students' performances. So welcome. No, let me just share my screen so that you will see. All right. So if you still have colleagues who are not yet here and they need to know how they could recalibrate the way they mark their students' performance, please invite them over. And please do not forget to register through the registration link that is provided on the chat box. So please click on the link so that later on you will be given certificates for attending this session. Okay, so without further ado, let us start our session with a prayer. So let us give ourselves a moment of reflection and please remain attentive after the prayer for the singing of the Philippine National Anthem.
Mga kababayan, ang pambansang awit ng Pilipinas.
Kayang magiliw, ewas ang sinakalan, alam ng puso, sa titik mo'y buhay. Lupang hinirang, tuyak ka ng magiting, sa manlulupin, di ka pasisigil, sa nagagang tutok sa simoy at sa langit mong pagaw, ay hinatang tulad, awit sa pagkayang minamahal. Ang isang ng matawad mo'y tagumpay na naghihingi, ang bituin at araw niya kailan pang ay di magdidinig. Luman ang araw ng walhagit pagsinta, buhay langit sa piling mo. Ang inigaya na pagkay mga api, ang mamatay ng dahil sa'yo.
Good afternoon once again, and please let me just remind everybody that you can still invite other participants to join us in this session, so that we will learn together now how we are going to recalibrate the way we mark our students' performance. Okay, so to start this program, let us hear a rationale and welcome message from one of our program heads, and of course, the chairperson for the Computer Engineering Department, Engineer Eileen A. Sheras.
Okay. Hello, madunggan ba ko?
Yes po, ma'am.
Okay, hello everyone. Good evening everyone. Now we are 17 minus the staff of CiTL. So let's say we have 5, so around 14 participants for this webinar. So thank you for joining this webinar. This entitled Revisiting the Way We Mark Our Students. So even that you have your classes today, no? Ang uban nato nga mga instructors na ay ilang schedule sa classes today, or some of the instructors are of their work sa ilahang different companies, but still you are here tungod sa among ang panawagan sa inyo, ha. So this webinar is exclusive to our faculty in SEA or College of Engineering and Architectures, especially to our mga part-timers nato, mga COS nato, no? Because concerned yun ta niya ani, and then kailangan sa kayo nato, especially for those who are new part-timers. So this webinar will help you or will give you some insights on how we are going to assist our students, no? Especially for this pandemic, kay lahi man yun katong mga normal time and then this new normal activity nato. So how we are going to assist our students, when are we going to give a P mark sa atong estudyante, kung kailangan magyud ta mohatag og P mark sa atong mga estudyante, no? So this webinar will help you, will give you some guides on when you are going to assist, or what are the mga measurements that you are going to assist to your students. But then even that we are in this new normal, no, we will not forget the quality educations that we are going to impart to our students, because sila man ang next generations para sa bayan, right? And naba sa ato ang din karon. We have here our kinsabay atong mga, I will check here kung kinsa ang naa karon nga mga nasa SEA nga mga sa SEA staff, or kaya ato si Ma'am Badik. Is there anyone here from SEA staff, from mga SEA's office? Ato ara yung mga new faculty, and we have here our mga part-timer nato, different department. So kinsay computer engineering din ani nga mga part-timer, can you please kanang raise lang imong hands din ani sa iyang under sa iyang reactions. So please raise your hands there kung say computer engineering faculty here. Just raise your hands. I-click lang na ninyo dinani iyang icons na sa reactions. Okay, please. Wala? Okay, naa si RV. Who else ang naka-join? We have here Ma'am Leia. Okay, Sir Apag. Okay, thank you. And then who are from civil engineering? Kinsay mga civil engineering part-timers here or CUS? Okay, Sir, Ma'am Civil Engineering, si Ma'am Vertodes. Man ni si Ma'am Vertodes. Kinsay mga electronics?
Sorry ma'am, nasayop ra ma'am, nasayop og sorry.
Okay lang, si Ma'am, sa kinsa ang naay sa mga electronics engineering? Wala tayong mga electronics engineering here. Part-timers or CUS or new faculty. Architecture. Naay architecture here. Okay, kay ang wala ra ba yes, thank you Sir William.
Yes ma'am, na ma'am.
Okay, sa mechanical engineering representative or CUS, new faculty, part-timer. Walay mechanical here. Ang dili ra ba mo join ani karon nga webinar, will have another webinar. Okay, si Din Pabi requested this kind of seminar because he found out that some of these part-time faculties, ilabi na kuno daw no ang mga part-time faculty, that they have their own assessment to their students. Maghatag sila ilang kaugalingon pag-calculate sa grade sa estudyante. So mura siya kanang dili siya, we have our university assessment na naman, no? So we need to use that one also. We will have this uniform on how we are going to assist our students, kay para nga dili ta maglahi-lahi o para dili sad tama duulan sa atong estudyante, ma-backfire ta sa atong students. So this is really a good seminar, no? Orientations to our new faculty. And then also Din Pabi informed me to include the repository of your documents. So we created this Google Drive wherein your chairman will give you the Google link so that you will going to submit all your katong mga documents, especially the accomplishment report ninyo. So if you have your accomplishment report, then please attach also your mga evidences ninyo when you conduct these your classes. So you already have your form. Hopefully that your chairman send you already your kanang respective link ninyo sa katong Google Drive nga link, no, kay dadto mo mag-send. So we include there the accomplishment form. So naana mo'y guide for those who have done that one last month, no, the same lang gyapon iyahang form. So please, every week you need to update that one, kay ang mga chairman sa ana is will check, will monitor kung si part-timer or si any faculty niya is nagkandak ba og klase. So pinaka mao na karon ang extra nga trabaho sa gyapon, or mao yun na ang trabaho na karon ni chairman. So how to monitor, kay since that we are in the new normal, it's different man kung mag face to face ta, kay when we have our face to face na atay HR to monitor sa tua kung nagkandak ba yun tag classes, no, nag-adto si HR staff, no, nag-visit sa ato ang dadto sa room nga wherein we assign to that room, then dadto mag-check dayon siya. Then every week the HR will send a name of faculty kung kinsa tong wala nagkandak og classes. But today lahi naman sa ta karon sa ato ang style, because we are in the online mode naman ta. So how we are going to monitor our faculty is, one way is to check the per week nga accomplishment report of the faculty. So your evidences katong imong mga print screen nimo when you conduct the classes, katong paghimo nimo sa imong mga modules, kato siya, katong unsa nga mga platform imong gigamit, Google Meet ba, you conduct this using Edmodo, Google Classroom, or any platform, you also include that one by i-print screening nyo para makita nato kung nabayud mo yung students nga nag-attend sa imong classes. And then please, when you have this print screen, please include the date and then the time, kay para mao man na siya ang isa nga evidence nato nga you really conduct that classes during that time. Kanang sa lower portion gani sa imong PC makita dito imong date and then the time. Please i-appeal to siya sa imong pag-print screen. Ayaw ninyo ikat kay basin nga imo bitong kanang i-edit pa na nimo ang imong pag-print screen, then ma-erase na noon to or dili na to ma-appeal ang katuyang date and then the time. So that is very important. So that's it. We put there the names, imong names. You have your own folder for each faculty, and then you are going to put there your katong imong mga documents, katong imong accomplishment report, katong mga unsa pa tong gipang-send sa ato ang mga secretary. I think the SEA staff already send the forms sa inyong mga respective emails ninyo. Please check there kung unsa tong mga forms. Then if you want to submit any forms also, you can directly send it to your Google Drive nga katong link nga gihatag sa imuha. And then just inform the SEA staff that you already submitted that kind of forms. Okay? So if you have some questions for that one, please inform our SEA staff, and also inform your chairman, kay si chairman ninyo mao jud sa gyapon maka-assist sa inyo, ha. Okay? So kinsa pay wala natagaan og katong link sa ilahang Google Drive repository sa ilahang documents, or kinsa nay napasahan? Si Sir Harvey, okay, sa architecture to sir, no? Okay, kinsa wala pa ka sir? Okay, sige, atong inform si Sir Soriano regarding ani sir. Kinsa pay wala? How about the ECE? Naay taga ECE na faculty here? Civil? Mechanical? Kinsa ra day ang nang-attend din ani kasagara? Si Sir Den Razer Atara. Sir, unsa ka nga department, sir? Wala nagtubag si sir. Si Tom Israel, asa ni siya nga department? Si Sir Tom? Hello? Pwede na ka maka-chat din ani sir kung asa nga department. Yes sir, asa ka nga department sir? Sir Tom? Hello? Okay, well anyway, if you don't have any link pa, wala pa mo naka-receive sa link sa iyang Google Drive, please inform your chairman. Kay the chairman will monitor you kung nag-conduct ba yun mo og classes. So please don't forget the katong mga evidences ninyo, katong inyong i-print screen ang inyo when you conduct your classes, and also you can also put there your modules nga inyong gihimo kung nag-conduct sa gyapon mo or nagpa-quiz ka sa imong estudyante, when you have your consultations with your students. Mao na siya ang mga evidences sa inyong klase. So that is one of the kuan gyapon pamaagi na namo or process na namo that we monitor nga nag-conduct yun mo klase. And then naasa gyapon ning summary na nga form as a mga chairman, siguro amo gyapon ning sabutan, no, that we have this summary form na amo tong chikan dadto nga this faculty conducted his or her class kaning siya nga time kay based on the accomplishment report nga inyong gipasa. So every week please update your accomplishment report. Okay? So I think that's all. Yes, okay. Yes sir, si Tom wala pa pa-send din po. Okay. Ang mag-send ana sir is ang inyong chairman. Kay nana siya i-link ana, and then he will because he knows his kuan man or his faculty. So siya na yung magbutang dato kung kinsa nga mga unsa to nga mga faculty, then by each folder man na siya. So katong link na maihatag na dai i-send sa inyo ha. Please don't forget to inform your chairman for sa architecture, si Sir Soriano or kaya si Sir Eltanal, no? Kay nana to yung mga link nila. Sila ra may makasend ana sir kay ang inyuhang documents makita lang na siya by your chairman and also ang SEA staff. Mauray makakita. Ang other department cannot see sa inyuhang mga documents. Okay, so naagyapon na siya kuan, nalangyapon na siya kanang privacy kintahay sa inyuhang department. And also if you have your syllabus, naanagyapon dadto nga link, dadto nagyapon mo magpasa sa inyong syllabus. So dadto na ang monitoring. Kay para nga si secretary, ang sa mga SEA staff, and also our dean, it's easier for him to check also to monitor his faculty under sa SEA. Okay? So I think that's all. Hopefully that you will whatever that you have learned here, hopefully nga kanang magamit sa gyapon ninyo, no, sa inyong klase. And then if you have some clarifications and questions, please do not hesitate kay naa si Sir Rugin, naa si Sir Lloyd, no, nga makatubag sa gyapon sa inyong mga pangutana ani, and also your concern sa inyong sa ato ang mga students. Okay, thank you very much once again, and then thank you Sir Arvin, thank you CITL for kanang wala jud kaayo nagbalibad, no, when si Sir Dean Pabi nag-inform nga gusto siya nga tagaan gyapon og orientation sa ato ang mga new faculty, no. So we are very thankful of this of our CITL staff, our CITL no, for wala jud nagbalibad sa amoa. Okay, so once again, thank you very much and God bless po.
Thank you, Ma'am Eileen. No, so that has set the beginning of our session this afternoon. So sa mga pag-roll call o sa mga a little bit of an overview of the reason why they are here, no? So salamat kaayo ato, Ma'am Ay. Now let us proceed to the core of our session this afternoon. So to give us or to discuss with us the overview of the concepts of grading students' performance, university grading policy, and revised policy for flexible learning and performance innovative tasks, here is our program head of CITL and the department chairperson of the electrical engineering department, Engineer Rogen V. Morcilla.
Good afternoon. Good evening, Adiay. Good evening, Sir Arvin. Good evening, everyone.
Good evening, sir.
Yeah. So hopefully this session will be able to give information as well as revisit for others na it's dugay na po nyo nag-part-time, as well as for others who are already new as part-time, as well as COS, as well as new faculty of the College of Engineering and Architecture. This would be just a revisit on the policies, as well as we will be also incorporating what are the changes, what are the changes that being imposed by the university pertaining to the flexible learning that we are doing now in our university, and how this basically impact to these policies that we have. No, this is just a uh, the policy inside the handbook for the academic policy is permanent. However, for this, these are just temporary temporary na mga changes with respect to this flexible learning. No, so what we will be talking about today is the academic policy. We will be focusing on the grading system as well as on this what we call the performance innovative task. So what is really the performance innovative task? Because many are asking what is this task, no? Because it is 20% of the grade that we will be giving to our student, and that is very big compared to this very big chunk of grade. So it is important that we'll be able to design this PIT such that it would really uh, see that it really is valuable for this 20% equivalent grade for the student. No, so we'll be sharing my presentation. I will be first talking about the academic policy. Wait. Okay. So what we are going to talk today is revisit on this university grading system. So this actually is found in our student handbook. Recently, we have just updated. We have a new student handbook, the 2021 edition of our student handbook. That also, uh, there are some changes that were put there, and also I incorporated those changes here in this discussion today because it might be like that we will be adjusting our how do we grade our student, as well as also for the new faculty that they will be all know about this grading system. No? So uh, let's start with this. Let's start with this grading system. No? So in chapter 14, article 1 of the student handbook, it says that the academic performance of the student shall be evaluated and graded at the middle and the end of each term in accordance with the prescribed grading system. So what does this mean? It means that we grade our student during midterm and finals. So uh, there are instances that faculty are grading students only at the finals. No, dili na siya pwede because based on our handbook, based on our grading system, we should be able to grade the student on the midterm and the finals. Muna nga, uh, some students may have reklamo sila nga nganong wala pa sila grado sa ilang midterm. No? So dapat naatay grade for midterm at saka finals nato karon due to the fact na student also will be able to know unsa na ilang performance sa midterm pa lang sa grade, no? And now as faculty dili sa pwedeng mag-upload ta grado dito na sa finals na atong tibuon ng midterm at saka finals, no? So dapat we should upload on the schedule. No, there is a schedule based on our calendar when to be the deadline to upload grade for midterm and finals. Okay, so now the instructor shall be the sole authority to determine and give grades to her student. So meaning si instructor lang yun ang pwede makabutang, maka-upload sa grado sa iyahang estudyante. Okay, so dili ta pwedeng atong ihatag-hatag ang grado to anybody, no? Because that is the student of our the grade of our student. So dili pwede pod nga namong instance sa una nga, di ba? We will be giving our grade using the Prism nga platform. Basi ato lang pa-encode sa atong kaila or ato lang pa-encode sa secretary. So remember this, when that grade is included in the system, that means that you are the one encoding that one and it's your sole responsibility what would happen in the particular encoding. Maybe nga mas may error, masayop na and later on, you'll be the one answering that one if there would be some changes or changes in the grade. No? And there is another process of that. If na ay may tabo nga error or something wrong nga pagbutang nimo sa grado, you could again go to another process of changing the grade. No? So, mahasol na yung kaayo sa kapanan because of that. No? So, dahil sakto ra gyud na siniguro kita nga magbutang sa grado dito ang kato ra gyud sa third. Now, another one that the grading system shall be in uniform using the grades in the multiples of 0.5 of 0.5, no? From 1 to 5, where 1 is the highest and 3 is the lowest passing grade. So pasabot ani, wala na tay grade nga katong 1.1, 1.15, no, wala na siya. What we have is 1.25, 1.5 in the multiples of 0.25, no, 1.75, and 2, 2.25, 2.5, 2.75, 3. Ana ang atong grading system. Okay? So wala lang sa una katong na 1.1, 1.2, 2.2, kana siya 1.8, wala na siya nga grado, no. So that is the inside our handbook. Now, pertaining to the flexible learning, no, as what I mentioned kanina, that we need to submit the grade on midterm and finals. There are cases, no, as we have our memorandum by our BPAA that we should be lenient in the submission in the schedule of submission of our requirements of our student. Now, if there are students, sir, so ano ko pag-grade sa midterm nga akong estudyante wa pa man nag-submit. Kaya nalagay ta leniency nga dapat kuan na. So, in that event, wala tayong choice, no? What will happen was we cannot really submit due to this pandemic, kaning flexible learning. So, if that's the case, then it's not your fault anymore, no? But what will happen on that is dito na ka makasubmit na grado sa midterm sa final. So, imo na siyang pulatan based sa kanang kuan sa atong flexible learning because we should be flexible enough to cater katong mga late na submission due to this flexible learning, no? So, until na siya sa finals ng human ang klase. And sir, may nangdenta nga, sir, what if di sige siya makasubmit sa finals, until sa finals, there will be another policy of that, no? Sa iyang grado. So, kana lang siya ang siguro with respect to this part of the grading system, no? Katong mag-submit tag midterm at saka finals, if na tayo estudyante nga wala ka submit sa midterm na requirement, we will be waiting for that under the finals due to that leniency sa flexible learning nato, no? But mubalik na ang atong normal baka nga fixed to pay na klase, then we will be sticking with this grading policy that we should be grading grade for midterm and finals. But now, if you have also a student nga nakasubmit gid siya sa midterm, dapat gid ta mohatag og grado sa midterm. Dili pwede nga class di sa ko matag og grado sa midterm kay ang imong classmate nga isa wa pa kahatag sa iyang requirement, dili pwede, no? The grade is individual man, di siya pwede dili nga as a group. Okay, so in the Prism, you can actually give grades individually. You can save it individually. So dili siya pwede nga si Talpulano wala pa nagsubmit sa requirement, ang whole class po wala pa may grado sa midterm, no? So the important thing there is if the student nagsubmit siya sa requirement sa midterm, then it's rightful nga you should give grade to that student kung kumpleto na ang iyang midterm nga requirement, no? Dili pwede nga dalahigon ang whole class tungkol sa isa nga pa nagsubmit sa requirement, then kana siya. So yan na po dahil ang problema if ever that would happen, no? So, kana lang atong timan-an. Okay? So, this is how we grade the student. This is in our handbook. This is in Chapter 14, Article 1. Malay siya, no? The equivalent of 1 is actually excellent. That is 97 to 100. 1.25, 94 to 96. So, muna siya, no? Until You reach 2.5, 2.50, that is 79 to 81, that is average. And until 2.75, and 3.00 is 75, that is your passing. Okay, for the equivalency in terms of percentage. Now, we have this conditional 3.25, 3.50, and 3.75, and not 3.50 are conditional. And 3.75 is failed, 4 is already failed, and 5 is actually failed. No? So muna ay ang mga description for that grade. Okay? Now, there's a note here. Modification due to flexible learning and pandemic based on the VPAA number 1, Memorandum number 1 of 2021. Now, terms, exams, assessment, and grading. No? It is advised that major exams may be uploaded 2 weeks before the exam. So, muna siya nga, faculty may utilize non-LMS platform. Right? The existing grading system still is 70% passing. No? The current grading component shall apply and the grade computation may be done outside the system. So muna siya ang ihangkuan. So there is a memorandum for the grading. No? Even though we are in the pandemic, pasabot ng ana nga we should stick in this 70% passing. Okay? Now, masinangutahan na mo, no? Na, sir, nga nung 75 lagi ang kuan diri sir, percentage equivalent sa 3.0. Now, this 75 is equivalent for the grade nga 3.0. Ang 70% nga passing, that mean is katong sa imuhang mga quizzes, tanan, that is 70% passing. Tanan sa imong mga exam, etc. mo na siya ng 70% passing. This 3.0 here is just equivalent grade in terms of percentage. Okay? So, now, there are also component on the grading system na natin tawag INC, DF, withdraw, W, and officially drop. Okay? So, kana siya. Now, another modification based on Memorandum number 1 of 2021 is wala na siya sa handbook is the grade P. No? When will we be giving the P grade? No, P. Okay? It's actually provisionary pang a grade. No? Will be given to students who are unable to complete requirements within the semester but are given 1 year to comply them. So this grade P will be changed to a numerical grade when the student has completed academic requirements for the course. So the P will be converted to 5.0 or failure after a year if the requirements are not complied with. Okay? So, muhatag dita karang mga estudyante katong gi-mention ko ganina nga, sir, what if kani siya nga estudyante yung requirement sa midterm until na lang nag-final pa siya nag-submit sa requirement at nahuman na yung semester, sir, unsa man kanya grado? So ato nga grado na is letter P. So that is provisionary, no? So and they are given actually to comply that P for 1 year. No? For 1 year ang kanang P. So that P, now, if they will not comply it within 1 year, that will become 5.0. Okay. Now, nalang po point akong ikuan, stress, no? When we say comply P, it does not mean submit. No? Namang go instance nga, mga ayo dayon ang gadang estudyante nga, sir, nag-submit na ko og requirement, na-comply na ko, sir. No? We should remember this, that kita ba ang mo determine nga ang word nga comply does not mean submit. When you comply, meaning correct ang iyang gi-submit. We should check the submission. Dili pwede nga pag na-submit na magada na dayon. No? You should stress it to your student na when you submit, it does not mean nga gi-comply na nimo. Pag submit nimo na i-evaluate pa na sa maestro. Okay? And if when you evaluate that one nga pag-check nimo sa evaluation niya murag di man gihapon ni siya appropriate ang iyang gi-submit, then you can actually say nga you have not complied it, resubmit. Okay, until he or she have submitted the correct one. No, kay basin man gud ma-abuse sa estudyante nga later on mag-submit lang pero wala siya actually na comply, no? Ang word being gigamit diri is comply, no? Nga kuan, comply. So when you comply, it does not mean nga gi-submit lang. Because I'm stressing that one because there is also in the policy that faculty are not permitted to give failure or INC. So dili ta pwede mo fail based sa kaning memorandum nga gihatag for this pandemic or kaning atong new norm, kaning situation karon. So we are not permitted to give a failing grade. So gakaitabuan na murag ka-abuse na po sa estudyante nga usahay nga mag-submit lang di ba kung mabagsak, no? So dili na siya mao, no? What will happen is that may tabo i-abuse ka sa estudyante. So what will happen is imo ginang evaluate, dili pwede nga pag basin mo namong ga instance god nga mag-submit ng estudyante kinupya ra gyapon sa iyang classmate. So you should be vigilant with that particular instance. Dapat tanaw na nimo, no? Nga mga situation. So if that's the case, what you will do nga makit-ani mo na siya, then you have to say the student nga, oh, dili man niyo mao, ikopya ra man nimo, dapat kabalo na siya for the situation. Or maybe nga ang imong gi-submit dili pa ni siya wixing nga comply because it is not yet complying with respect to the requirement or the outcome nga gusto nato sa kaning particular nga submission, no? Remember that we are doing the OBE na outcomes based. If maghatag siya og submission, mean ka nga to comply the requirement and the submitted requirement does not really comply to the outcome nga gusto nimo sa katong particular nga activity, so you cannot say nga, mean ka nga dili na siya kuan pa, you should resubmit. Okay? So until such time nga sakto na kay because ma-abuse ang kaning kuan. Okay? So kana nga atong kuan, and he or she should do that. Imagine for 1 year ba na niya buhato, no? So taas kay nga panahon, naagid siya panahon to do that one nga kuan for 1 year. Okay? So now also stated in the handbook is that if a student has a grade of 3.25 to 3.5 that is conditional, no, what will happen is for in the midterm period, no, and this shall only be given only on the midterm period. Pasabot ana dito pwede umuhatag og 3.25, 3.5 katong mga kondisyon nga grade during the finals. If that's the case, nga mogawas ang grado nga 3.25 to 3.5 in the normal situation, karon pandemic man ta, wala man tay failure, if kana ang mogawas, what will happen was you should give that student a failing grade. Equivalent na siya sa 5. Okay? So namang instance nga mga instructor naghatag grado nga 3.5, 3.75 sa finals, hindi siya pwede, no? Dapat that is equivalent to 5. Okay? Now, when do we give INC? Kanus man mahatag og INC? Now, although in the situation karon, balik ko nako, we are not permitted to give INC or failure. However, kung mabalik na ang normal, we should give INC. When? This is only given to student, no? If a student class standing through the semester is passing, but she or he fails to take the final examination. If na kay estudyante nga passing ang iyang mark, pag compute nimo, passing siya, pero wala siya ka-take og finals or any major exam, kaning finals, dapat ihatag nimo na INC. Or fails to complete other requirements of the course. Now, unsa ning mga requirement ng mga major? Example, basta ka submit og PIT, performance innovative task, at least 20% sa iyang grade, ako kay sa kananan, no? Or any other major requirements sa imong course, no? And still, tanaw nimo ang estudyante, passing man ang iyang grado for the past nga mga performance niya, but kanilang gid ang iyang na-miss, then you give him an INC grade. No? Now, during instance nga, itabo na sa una, gi-compute sa estudyante, gi-comply sa estudyante, pero ang gatag sa maestro, 5 gihapon. So, anong ato man ang kuan, dili na siya dapat mahitabo, no? Remember this, if this is only given to student which has a passing. Passing ang iyang performance sa iyang semester, but ano siya na-miss. No? Now, if you compute the grade and still dili gyapon siya mo pasar ang katong iyang kulang sa katong iyang kulang i-submit, ayun lang siya tagaig false hope, no, for this grade nga INC. So bagsakan na lang siya diretso 5 na dito sa imong grado kay ngano namang giingsan sa una magipasubmit ang estudyante sa INC pero 5 ra gihapon, so false hope ang kuan. So you only give INC to katong mga kuan lang gid passing, no, makompute na nimo based sa ilang grado. So again, such requirement must be complete, satisfied within one school year. 1 school year means 2 semester and 1 summer. Reckon from the end of that term that the student incurred the INC. Otherwise, the INC shall automatically become a grade of 5.0. Again, balikon ako, for this time of pandemic, we are not permitted to give a 5 or INC grade. But if bubalik ng normal, natay INC grade. Okay. Now, in the absence of the instructor, no, the department chairman will evaluate and recommend appropriate grade to be given to the student subject to the approval of the dean, provided that the application for completion is within the allowable prescribed period. Now, kani siya ang kuan importante nga mag-submit ang mga part-time, mga faculty tanan gyud sa US, including mga new faculty, to submit a class record. Nga naman, to the department or to the dean's office. Nga naman, because based on this statement, in case, no, mulakaw, in the absence of the instructor concerned, meaning ang instructor wala na nang tudlo karong nga SEM, or wala na ang instructor ni bali na to na sa gawas sa Pilipinas, so di na makontak or ano na. So kinsa man ang mohatag grado ang department chair. So unsa man paghatag sa department chair of grade if walay class record. So ang basis karon sa department chair kay i-check man niya ngano na i-INC man ng student. Unsa may wala niya nga na-submit nga requirement. So makita na dito sa class record, and that one alone based on the class record will see makita sa instructor nga ako lang din siya og final exam. So meaning appropriate pod nga si department chair mohatag sa final exam for the student. Ana ang iyang kuan. So reminding everyone, mag-submit ta og class record yun sa atong kuan college or sa atong department, no? So, an INC grade is only be given during the final grading period. So, remember this, we cannot give INC if normal lang situation na on midterm, we can only give it on the finals. Okay, incomplete. Another thing, a mark of W or withdraw, no? A W or withdraw is given to student who voluntarily and officially withdraws his or her registration. So, wala din problema ani because sa registrar na ani ang magbutang sa withdraw. Okay, mag-process na sila sa withdrawal. Okay, another grade, DF, drop with failure. Okay, DF or drop with failure shall be given to student who drop the subject without permission of the instructor concerned. Kanang nawala na parang bula. No, kanang wala lang. Nag-awol lang sa imong klase. O naging kakabalo, asa na siya. Okay? Or, another one, when a student exceeds the allowable number of absences as specified in Chapter 8, Article 4 of Student Handbook. So later on, ato na-discuss kung pila na di ay dapat allowable absences sa estudyante, no? Imo ganang i-check kuan. So nana ka importante si attendance. Okay? You cannot give DF without the basis of the attendance because ang basis sa DF na grado is basihan ng attendance. So munong sa una nga unsa kuno yung basis ngano mag-check pa man daw attendance nga wala man siya grabot sa grado, later on sa grading system karon wala man siya labot sa pag-compute sa grado ang attendance because attendance is not a performance. It's only attendance. Ang iyang purpose is that to check nga kanus ka mohatag og DF. no? So naana sa policy. So you cannot give DF to the student if wala kay proof, and that proof is the attendance. So dapat i-check na nimo ang attendance. Okay? Specified na siya sa handbook. Okay? So without permission, no attendance gihapon na siya. Now, a marked DF is not equivalent to a failing grade of 5.0. So ma-DF ang estudyante, dili na siya 5 bagsak. Now, another thing, because of the pandemic, na po yung mga revision, nagitabo kang DF. Now, this DF or drop with failure is suspended during the semester as its physical attendance based policy. Di ba ang atong kuan karon flexible learning, we do not check anymore for basically attendance eh. Hindi naman tayo stricto because we are not saying nga pag-abot sa klase nimo namatay synchronous o asynchronous na klase. So how do you check attendance kung asynchronous? So wala na siya, naka-module lang man ta. Or kung synchronous manggaling ta, di po ta ka-expect na tanan makatunga kay na ay limitation pertaining to the connection, pertaining to the gadget, etc. So we're not that strict pertaining to attendance. That's why DF is suspended for the physical attendance nga policy. Now, and student attendance now happened was the student attendance has been modified into an output-based performance. So output-based meaning based na dahil karon. So dili na ta karon ga-check gyud sa attendance ang muhatag na kag DF, gi-suspend siya for physical attendance nga policy. But if naatay giingon nga output-based performance, kung baga sa iyang gi-submit sa mga requirement niya. Okay? So what happened was, among ang discussion nga niyo, makahatag tag DF o dili. Naana sa policy na sa memorandum, if the student is unable to submit kay at output-based naman ang performance karon, not anymore based on the physical attendance. Ang attendance niya based naman sa performance. So, if the student is unable to submit requirements despite all efforts from the faculty to contact him or her, she will be given a DF a week after the finals. So, pwede ta mga tag DF, DI if kaming ang scenario. If the student is unable to submit requirements despite all efforts from the faculty to contact him or her. Magipang imo lagi nang gitawagan, gi-contact, gi-chat, wala gid nagparamdam, wala nag-submit sa tanang requirement, no? She will be given DF a week after the final. So kana makahatag tag DF. Gi-suspend lang siya for physical attendance. Akong balikon. Gi-suspend ang policy sa DF based on the physical attendance nga policy. But gihimo man nato ni karon nga attendance has been modified to output-based performance. So meaning based sa iyang mga requirement na ninyong ipang-submit. No, ano na nimo sa imong record nga kani si Juan de la Cruz does not submit anything. So dili po kadit sa matag og DF sa iya. What you will do is to contact her, reach out. Kontakon na ako siya through phone, through email, through sa maka Facebook, sa iyang mga classmate, iyang ikuan. But after a week sa finals, wala gyud bisag usa nga submission. No, namong case nga na wala gyud bisag usa nga submission. Kaya wala din na napakabana. What will happen is mahatag kag DF after the week, 1 week after the finals. Okay? Another thing. Now, so, the cumulative grading system is used to compute the final grade, no? So in computing the final grade, any of the following may be used as discussed and agreed between the instructor and student concerned. So, muna imong isabot, no? At first day of class, dapat klaro ni sa inyo, no? Ngayon sa ba, 1/3, 2/3, 1/2, 1/2. When will that be 1/3, 2/3? Meaning 1/3 midterm, 2/3 finals ang iyang total grade. If that will happen only if the final examination coverage, katong 1/3, 2/3 niya, is all topic discussed from the beginning of the semester. So what will happen is, if that's the case, from the beginning ang inyong finals, kumbaga comprehensive siya, the weight of the midterm is only 1/3. No? 1/3 lang ang midterm. Ang 2/3 ang finals. Kaya nga no, ang inyong finals is comprehensive man. Now, if your final coverage is only that all topic discussed in the final term, meaning katulad na discuss sa finals, lang ang imong i-cover sa imong final exam, what will happen? The weight for the midterm is only 1/2. So 1/2 midterm, 1/2 finals. So this one should be discussed by the student and the faculty at the start. Dili ta pwede mo change ani in between ha. Klaro ni siya nga pagsugod pa lang sa klase, sabot ta klase man 1/3 to 1/3, 1/2, 1/2. And it's agreed by all the student. Klaro na siya. Di ta pwede nga pag-abot sa finals wala mo gasabot, pag-abot sa finals maingon na nga 1/3 2/3 banta. So dili na siya pwede. At the start, it should be agreed by the both parties. Klaro na siya nga muna ato din klaro nga muna ang coverage sa finals. If 1/3 2/3 ta class, muna ang coverage sa finals sa ikan sa beginning until the end, muna coverage 1/3 2/3. So dapat na siya klaro, no? Sige, para walay gubot later on, no? Now, posting of grades. After computing the grades are posted in the pre-sem. Okay? I'm sure na ano mo yung mga accounts sa pre-sem. Yun, no? So, all grades are in... Dili ta pwede nga, ato lang i-email sa chairman ang atong grado niya. Si chairman atong ipa-encode. Dili pwede, no? Akong balikon. The instructor has the sole authority to encode, to submit the grade. No? So, meaning, ikaw ang instructor will be the one to encode that one in the pre-sem. Okay? So, dili siya pwede nga ato lang i-submit sa secretary sa SEA, kay si secretary sa SEA, mura itong ipa-encode sa pre-sem. Dili pwede. Okay, dapat ikaw mismo, ikaw mo encode sa grado sa pre-sem. Then, imo nang i-save, save and post. Once, dili pwede, there are case sa una nga igora i-save sa instructor eh. Dili pwede, no? Dapat naka-post. Once you post it, you cannot actually change that one. Naka-lock na siya. No? Naka-lock na siya. Once you post it, it's locked. Once locked na siya, meaning that is final. And if there are errors in that grade, you will now go to another process of changing the grade. No? So, ana ang iyang process. So, okay, so muna nga, once mo encode ta og grado sa pre-sem, that should be final. No? And dapat wala na siya mga error, wala yung mga problema. No? Imo ganang i-double check. And dapat ikaw lagi anak kay ngano, imo nang ipa-encode dito. Dili gina siya pwede ipa-encode kang secretary, the more kay basig na nag-grumble na itong trabaho ng secretary niya, nag-encode siya dito sayo. So, ikaw rin po ng bago. Ikaw may pagitaan. Okay? So, and remember this, the posting of grades is stated in the academic calendar. Nana dito nga petsa. Maminawa, especially sa mga part-time, new faculty, natay schedule for encoding of grades. Dito pwede mo encode of grade after sa deadline. Nga naman, that has an implication to the enrollment. Magproblema na rin si chairman pag-enroll. Kay si student, wapay grado ani nga prerequisite ani nga subject. So that is a problem na may tabo. So magmuna nang ang estudyante po magproblema kay di po siya ka-enroll kay wala pay grado, no? So atong i-post ang grado based sa deadline or based sa schedule sa academic calendar. Sir, pwede ra ko earlier mo encode grado sa deadline. Mas maayo. Earlier pa na-encode nakagrado. Pag naka-complete na lugar tanan ang requirements dyan, then you can encode the grade. Okay? So, another thing, basis. No, unsay basihan, no, as we compute for the grade. Basis in computing the grade. Okay. Now, for a while. Okay. Now, this is very important, especially sa atong kuan. How do we compute the grade, no? Kay kung gingon mamailin ganina kay basig na naglahi og bangag sa pag-compute sa grado. So kanino? Now, remember, ang atong grade has performance items. Naitulog ka category. Natay class standing performance, naapod tay major exam performance, and the PIT, performance innovative task. Okay? Si class standing performance nakagitawag og long quiz, quiz performance, and other class performance. Si major exam na kay midterm at saka finals. Then PIT is another one, another chunk. Performance innovative task. Later on, i-discuss na to unsa ni si PIT. Project ra ba ni? Nakasipin mo na, an innovative project, hands-on exam, oral or final term project, depende sa imong subject, no? So, midterm grade, average is the student performance indicator during the midterm period. So, muna ang midterm grade period. Period represented by the student's midterm average. So, this average is also expressed in percentage form. Na dito sa atong buwan, no? Final grade average is a student performance indicator during the final term. So, muna ang iyang grado sa final term. I-combine natin na may muna iyang grado, no? Okay. So, how do we compute this one? Okay, now, the class performance, sa isaon nato, no? Nakaiduha. Quizzes, basically long quizzes, and the class performance. The quizzes are long quizzes. No? Katong mga taga sa quiz. Now, tanong ka, sir, asa mo fall si prelim at saka pre-fi? Prelim and pre-fi are long quizzes that falls under the long quiz performance or the quiz performance. All long quizzes, prelim, pre-fi are included in the performance items. Now, remember this. If your course, imong subject nga gitudluan karon is 3 unit, you should have a minimum of 3 long quizzes and must be conducted per major term. Pasabot ana, dili na siya nga 3 quiz all the whole semester ha. Pasabot ana, 3 quiz sa midterm, 3 quiz sa finals. Okay? Sir, if 4 units ang subject, di 4 quiz sa midterm, 4 quiz sa finals. Okay? Ana ang iyang kwan based sa policy. Now, other class performance. Unsa ni siya? Mga short quizzes, recitation, assignment, homework, problem set, seat work, experiment, and many other graded activities. Those are other class performance. Okay. So, unsa diay ni siya pagka-divide? Okay? Now, sa atong policy, no? Fix gid ni siya. Ni siya pwede nato i-change siya. Basig kunya mag-change sa nga akong class performance himo na ko 20%, quizzes na ko himo na ko 30%, dili pwede. Okay? So this is fix that your class performance is 10%, quizzes is 40%, major exams is 30%, and PIT is 20%. Okay? Di siya pwede na to i-alter, no? Even though naata karon sa pandemic, na memorandum giingon niya nga sa memorandum number 1 of 2021 sa BPA, grade percentage allotted will be kept, no, by faculty, no? Will be kept, but faculty are given the freedom to modify the number of assessment activities per grading component. Okay, naaday modification. Even though ang atong percentage nato 10 mo gina siya nagka-fix, but we can modify the number of assessment activities per grading component. Katong ingon na ganina nga, tulo gid ka quiz, 4 ka quiz, we can modify that one kay sir, di man makaya ang tulo sir kay apiki man sa time or apiki man sa kuan. So pwede ra duha, no? Kana siya dili kay strict ana. Pero the university says nga stick gid ta ani nga percentage. 10, 40, 30, 20. Okay? Remember that one. So we can actually alter the other components, like for example, no? The number of quizzes, imong recitation, sa una tulo ka recitation, karon duha na lang imong nahimo kaya piki man, lisod man, no? Kana siya. Those are the things that you can alter. Okay? So this is for the lecture. Now, sir, what if na laboratory? Akong subject. The laboratory, kanisa is for lecture alone. Subject na ko nga purely lecture. Sir, what if kung na lab? Buwa ko ni mo na into two. Lecture grade o lab grade. Lecture grade, same criteria katong ganina. Lab grade na kay tulo ka component. Na kay lab exercise and reports 30%, major exam 40%, o hands-on exercise is 30%. So muna pasabot na kuan nga di siya pwede nga tibuon na nimo tanan. No, namong uban nga nagpa-exam siya, gitiburon niya ang iyang midterm or final exam sa lab o sa lecture. So lahi siya nga kumpuot. Pwede na mo isabay pero dapat bungkago na nimo siya nga component kani siya nga mga item is for lecture, kani nga mga item is for lab because again lahi siya nga percentage no? Then how do you combine that one? To combine that one, inani lang. If your grade, if your course is 1 unit lecture, 1 unit lab, 50% to compute for the final grade, 50% is lecture, 50% is laboratory. For 2 units lecture, 1 unit lab, 66% lecture, 34% lab. 3 units lecture, 1 unit lab, muna yung pinaka-common, no? 75% lecture, 25% lab. So ano lang ang pag-compute. Okay? So ano lang, no? Balik ko na ako, no? The criteria, again, balik ko na to for the final grade. Muning sabutan ninyo, 1/3, 2/3 ba or 1/2, 1/2. Okay? Discuss with the student. Ang utana, sir, kung saan ako pag-compute? So muna ang yung formula. Formula and computing the grade for exams and quizzes with 70% passing. So muna yung pag-compute. 23/3 minus 20/3 times S over T of TS. This is for score 70% to 100. Okay? Based na siya pag-compute. But if the score is below 70, ang yang equation for computing the grade is 5 minus 20 S over 70 TS, where S is your score and TS is your total score. Okay? So, imo na siyang i-graph mo ni iyang pagkuhan sa grado. That's the policy. Okay? Now, sir, libog man yung pagkuhan, sir. Pag-compute. Iyaw kabalaka because natay Excel. No, you ask your chairman for the Excel nga katong naka-proforma na daan. Nga nakabutang na dito, 10, 20, katong itong maka-percentage. Nakabutang na po sa equation ang katong mga kaning formula para dila ka mag-compute sa formula, no? We advise also to use that Excel kay para dili dili masayo pag-compute kay basi ma-question niyo sa estudyante later on. So everybody is advised to use that particular Excel file. Naana po na dito, no? Nakabuak na po na dito kung sa ba 1/3, 2/3 ba? 1/2, 1/2 ba? Okay, nakabutan na dito sa Excel. Okay? So, ma-share man siguro na ako. Wait sa ako sa i-stop ning kuan. Okay? I'll share the Excel. Okay, Excel. Share. Okay? So, this is the Excel file. Okay? So what you will just do here is just input the ID number, name sa estudyante. Example, class standing performance, naka-peg na siya ng 10%, quiz 40, midterm 30, PIT 20%, lecture, this is for lecture, no? Lecture grade niya for midterm. Napo na siya, this is for, naka-segregate po siya, napo siya 75, 25, napo siya 50-50 if you want, no? 50-50, napo siya lecture nga pure lecture lang, nga kuan, nga grade. Okay? So what you will just do is to input the grade, the score, no? Not the score. So example, assignment, assignment 1, Pilay total adto, ikaw butang diri kung pilay total, no? So you can edit this one. But pag compute diri sa mga score din automatic na siya mo pagawas og grado. Okay? Then after completing it all, ihatag na po dayon na yan. Midterm na kay hatag ni midterm. So matag po sa grado ni midterm. Then finals po, matag po sa grado ni finals. And as well as for final term, final grade baga sa kanang semester. So what will happen is napo na siya i-breakdown nga og panap ba or 2/3, 1/3, 2/3. So pupili lang kadayon. Okay? Then you can put remarks here in case na nga na INC, DF, withdraw, or officially drop. Okay? So sige. I'll go back to my slide. Okay, so that's it for the grading system, no? Hopefully everybody is clear about that kay para dili ta magka-problema kay usually man gud na ay mga problem ato sa OSA, ato kay mo reklama sa student kay yun sa pag-compute sa iyang professor sa grado. So you can actually be clear with that, no? Kay basig later on ang mga question dapat na siya sa handbook based sa patong policy. Kay mura gyud natong dagana, no? Now, attendance policy. Muna akong giingon nga dito mo siya ang linking sa DF later on. So now remember this also, admission to class. Na kana bitong pag pasulod dito sa estudyante sa tong klase even katong karong pandemic, no? Kay siyempre nawag patay klase. Naman ko iban estudyante nga magsusulod-sulod lang pero wala labot sa imong klase, no? So in admitting the class, we should be able to get the COR. Dapat kabalo ka sa COR sa mga itong COR sa estudyante, certificate of registration or kato iyang certificate of final niya nga kuan student what they call that one, the course list, parang nasa iyang list nga mga course niya nga official from the university. Or you may check your class list on Prism. If wala ang iyang grade, if wala dito iyang ngalan, then wala siya labot sa imong klase. So ana lang siya kasayod. And it's important to check that one kay kung wala siya sa imong klase, namang instance sa una, no, na-experience tamo ni nga nagsulod-sulod ang estudyante, wala kabalo nga kani nga estudyante wala sa iyang class list, di na po isa ka professor, namang example, pareha nga subject, calculus 1, puro calculus 1. Ang isa ka estudyante dito siya sa isa ka instructor naka-register. Pero sa PCAS instructor siya gasulod. So pag-abot karon sa last ka semester, nangayo siya grado dito sa second instructor. Kay ihatag niya sa first instructor, di na siya pwede. Okay? So dito pwede ana nga situation. So what you will do, if na estudyante nga wala sa imong class list, di na siya pwede mo sulod. Meaning nga wala ka diri adto sa imong instructor. Okay? Kay that is always happening. Nga kay tabo inana do. Magproblema, mag-create na nag-problem. Di ganong gipasulod sa instructor sa PCAS niya. Ganong gitagaan og grado dito kay hatag ko sa grado pero nagproblema siya ang instructor kay di niya ma-encode sa Prism. Kay ngano wala man sa iyang class list. So that's now a problem. So kana and that's now a big problem. So in the first place, pag sugod pa lang i-check tanan kung appeal ba siya sa imong klase o wala. Okay? Now, muna ang giingon tardiness and absences. Now, a student is considered tardy when he or she arrives 25% of the class time. Even though dili ka ta strict ni ka-time nga karon sa pandemic, but kung balik na, we will be strict with this for our DF na grade. Now, kani siya, 3 instance tardiness, katulo ka tardiness, late niya, equivalent to 1 absences. So, muna mag-check bita sa attendance. Nga kani sa estudyante late ni siya. Mark ka late dito. Nga naman, kay para ma-determine mo kung pila na niyang late, no? And mabot na siya ato nga percentage, then may tabo, that will kuha na lang yun. Makatag na rin ka sa DF or sa baka, no? So, kanas naman may excuse kung illness, no, labi na karon nga pandemic, no? Illnesses ang estudyante or natural calamities. Okay, but remember this, before sila mo ingon nga illness, okay, mo nang magpa-submit kag medical certificate. No, kay na may estudyante magpasumangil nga sir gadaot ko. So wala yung medical. So dapat student ma-submit ang medical certificate issued by the university physician or any other physician provided that the latter is in the case that the medical certificate shall be authenticated by the university physician. So ang USTP na atay doctor, na physician, in case nga naay student nga absent or ingon siya nga nagsakit siya mo nang wala siya sa imong klase or wala siya kasubmit sa mga requirement karong pandemic, karong nga kuan kay nagsakit siya, ipasubmit siya medical certificate, then if that is from the other doctor, it should be authenticated by a university physician. Wagi pa na sa university nga physician before na siya ma-okay. Okay? So, number 2 is the natural calamities like storm, kabalo ng mga taana, kasa na nga mga dapit, no? Kakahitabo naman sa mga news to. Makabalo ka sa pinimo nga nasunugan, wingon siya nga nasunugan ko sa tagasam ni ka. Ano nga area sir? Ay, ano na nimo tinuod dili, no? Another thing is extracurricular activity, mga extracurricular nga mga activity sa ilahang kuan. Now, important nga dapat na siya approve. Dili pwede nga dili siya approve, no? Namong uban estudyante nga maglakaw na dayon nga walay approval. So, if it is not an approved activity, then if it's not an approved activity, then dili siya pwede, dili siya excuse. Okay? Ano lang. So, an INC grade should not be given to student who missed the class due to the activity sanctioned by the university. So, dili siya pwede tagaan kag INC na wala siya ka-submit man ani. So, dili siya pwede, no? So, DF, muna siya, no? Drop due to absences. So, katong DF nato will be given student incurred 3 consecutive unexcused absences. So, katulo siya mo absent, automatically DF. Or more than 17% of the total number of contact hours. So, muna siya, no? So, the grade of DF will be given by the instructor. So, muna siyang sa normal nga period. But, karong new normal, o karong pandemic, natin policy katong ganina, no? Katong itong if mabot ng finals, kay performance naman ang iyang attendance, what will happen if wala din siya kasubmit, imo nang gibot ang tanan, imo nang gi-contact, kuan na nimo, still wala gyapon, then tagaan nimo siya diyan. Okay, now. So, kana lang, no? Now, muna ngayon kanina, ang change of grade dayon, in case nasayop ka og grado, sir, nasayop, say buhaton. So, what will happen? You can only, remember this, pag masayop po ta o grado, you can only change your grade within 30 days after the initial filing. Meaning, pag post mo sa grado, mag-ihap na nag 30 days. And in any case, kana lang yun siya ang mag-change sa grade. Pag mula pa sa nag 30 days, di na ta maka-change sa grado. Okay? So, and the following documents shall be submitted along with the letter of request explaining the reason. Mag-request ka, mag-letter ka dito sa registrar unsay rason nimo kanang na sayop ang grado o butang, and the class record showing the grade competition. Mag-submit ka dito, no? So, what are those exceptional cases nga excuse? Nga kuan, unsa man na error in computation, nasayop pag-compute. Ikadua, wrong entry, sayop pagka-encode, omission of names or grades, wala nimo na appeal, no? And basis of grade determination was not the same as approved or announced. So meaning, ang imong pag-compute sa grado, wala nagsunod sa katong policy. So kana, kaya namang kay instance ka mareklama ang estudyante. Okay? So, muna yung procedure, the student who has received a passing grade examination shall not be allowed to take or retake the exam for the purpose of improving the grade. So dili ta pwede minaw desa namang kay ibang estudyante nga sir gusto kong dako ako grado pati ka pag exam di pwede kausar gyud na siya based sa policy, no? Final exam, no? So however, she may contact a request for a change of grade by submitting to the dean's office a change of grade form signed by the faculty and the chair. So may tabo. If that's the case, so should a continuing situation arise, the student may lodge an appeal at the Dean's Office, who shall form a review committee of the composed of the following. So na pa review committee, tan-awon maginto kung tinuod ba nasayop. The committee may conduct an investigation during which the faculty may be required to present him or herself to the committee with a letter of explanation and the other documents of the committee deemed permitted. Okay? So ana ang iyahang kuan policy, so medyo taas. So manang dapat dili kita masayop. Okay, now examination. Remember this, naatay schedule for final and midterm exam. It's on the calendar, even prelim at saka semi. So we should follow that one. Dili ta pwede nga magbuot-buot og schedule nga wala na sa time na manguban ng mga maestro nga magbuot-buot, no? Dili ta pwede magbuot-buot. Nang reklamo na rin ng estudyante kay wala nag-exam humana ang schedule sa final exam, aya pa rin siya naulahin na. So dili siya pwede ha. That will cause a problem sa mga estudyante. Kailangan na sila klase sa uban nga mga klase po nila, no? Now, request for late or special exam. So, pwede ta mohatag og late or special exam may be given as long as it is permitted, no? May be given within 1 week after the scheduled examination. So, example na ay kuan wala ka tunga sa schedule and dapat valid ang yang reason. Example na ay na ay nagsakit siya or dapat karon na siya, no, death certificate o namatayan unvalidated by the university physician. Dili pwede nga, sir, di ko ka-appeal sa exam kay mo-appeal ko og kasal or dili pwede na siya nga mga situation or wadto ko dito sa something. So dapat valid ang iyang reason. Okay? So, pwede ta mohatag og late examination but within 1 week after the scheduled examination. Nga naman, kay 1 week after deadline sa grado. Ang hindi ta kahatag na og exam na maproblema ta sa grado na submission na schedule. Okay, removal exam. Remember this. Based sa handbook, we are obliged to give removal exam if the grade upon computing, if the grade of the student is 3.25 to 3.5. No? So, kana siya. Muhatag tag removal exam if kana ang iyang grado. But, the removal examination shall have a grade of, ang iyang passing ana is 70%. Dili pwede nga pag-removal ang iyang kuhaon 90%, 80%. Stick ka gapon ka sa 70%. Kay make or break pa ng removal exam, no? And it should be conducted within the week after the scheduled major exam. So meaning 1 week after sa karong nga week exam week, after that week dapat maka-removal na siya. Kay ngano again balikon na ako naay schedule for grade encoding. So dili pwede na siya. That is always scheduled a week after sa major exam. So that will affect now. So, dapat muhatag ta og removal if ang estudyante nga grado is 3.25 to 3.5. Okay? That that should be clear to everybody. Kaya na mga case nga reklamo estudyante nga nganong wala sa tagay removal exam. Okay? So, again, balikon nako, the removal exam is 70% passing. Namong uban nga mingon sila nga dapat imo 80%, imo pod 90% imo kwaon, dili pwede. Okay? 70% lang yun itong policy, no? Dapat mo na iyang count na grade. If mabagsak siya ana, basta kabot 70, so bagsak ana lang. If normal. If new normal man ta karon, may po na siya ka situation. Okay? So, okay? Now, based on BPAA memo, for the assessment, because of the varied circumstance and limitation of student in terms of gadget, connectivity are enjoined, so natay mga leniency sa atong assessment sa kapag-conduct sa mga major exam and assessment, no? We should employ alternative assessment activities, no? Synchronous, we should announce synchronous assessment kay basig na unyay magpa-exam ta nga synchronous, so dapat assessment should be last week early least a week earlier ato na siyang gi-announce sa atong estudyante. And letter C, conform synchronous assessment duration with the number or difficulty of the items. Tanaw na to kay base ko niya o maglisod ang estudyante kay because of this internet, no? Extension of submission deadlines. So munang consider tag leniency sa deadlines. Conduct all synchronous assessment activities according to the class schedule to avoid schedule conflict. So nung giingon ako nga hapit na ra ba ang midterm, end of this week, end of this month yata, dapat natay schedule, stick to that schedule nato, no? Dili pwede nga moadto na ka sa next day pa-exam. So natay schedule for your class kana gid ang imong time. Okay? So give the student at least a week to submit synchronous assessment requirement. So kana atong kuano, so be lenient, no? For this I think for this midterm exam karon, we are giving the student, like example kanang day imong exam, we are giving a student that whole day. 8 I think 8 to 5 ba no? Asa for that whole day to submit that whole day the exam. Okay? Pati na pwede nga ugma na mag-submit kana na gid nga adlaw. Okay? So for term examinations, because of the bad circumstance, are encouraged to employ alternative. So muna siya katingingon na ganang katong synchronous. TOS percentage may be adjusted, di ba? When we prepare our midterm exam or finals, dapat mag-submit tag TOS. So sa TOS po, dito katong na siya mga percentage may be adjusted to align with the alternative assessment and extension of deadlines of the term exam must be considered. So muna karon nga natin pagawas ang chancellor nga memo na appeal rin regarding that submission of katong time to submit this term exam. Okay, so I will now proceed to the next one, the PIT, Performance Innovative Task, because there are a lot of people questioning unsa dining PIT, how do we do a PIT? No? Then uban lahi-lahi interpretation eh. Then I will also be giving some example of PIT. Okay, so is this visible, no? Okay, so we will be talking now about the performance innovative tasks and class performance activities. So in CDIO, basically sa engineering, College of Engineering and Architecture, we are employing the conceive, design, implement, and operate na strategy for delivery. And this PIT falls under the design and build experiences of our student for this CDIO concept. But before that, we'll be talking about CDIO. I will be talking first regarding the PIT. So as defined, unsa din ang performance task? When we say performance task, di na siya nga basta-basta lang nga task. Basta nga ito magkakaroon is innovative task, naagin siya innovation nga part. But in the sense, unsa ning performance task? Is any learning activity or assessment that asks student to perform to demonstrate their knowledge. So na ay demonstration, understanding, and proficiency. So dili siya basta-basta di ay nga task lang or unsa may gipabot na demonstration of knowledge, understanding, and proficiency. Muna ito remember, no? Now, performance tasks yield a tangible product or a performance that serves as evidence of learning. So usually sa ato sa engineering, College of Engineering and Architecture, naagi tangible product na atong ipaproduce ang estudyante in our PIT or any performance that will give that evidence nga na learn niya sa kanang particular nga subject. Okay, so dili basta-basta lang maghatag og PIT. So unlike selected, dili siya pareha sa kanang mga multiple choice or matching type nga naay magpili-pili lang ang estudyante nga knowledge base wala din siya pwede na no. So ang performance task presents a situation that cause learners to apply their learning in context. So meaning that in context, sa konteksto sa iyahang gibuhat or sa katong task nga himuon. So dili pwede nga murag gipa-answer nimo sa multiple choice mo na to ang iyang task. So, dili pwede or gipa-answer nimo sa matching type or any objective nga katong sa answer lang, dili siya pwede no. It should present no a situation that calls for learners to apply application of learning in context. Okay? So na ay word nga application. Okay, higher order na siya. Okay. Now, this PIT also natang gitawag og performance assessment. How do we assess? Assessment sa performance. Also known as alternative or authentic assessment. Ang PIT is actually can become an assessment. Diba? Kay part po niya sa atong reading. It's actually an assessment. No? It's a form of testing that requires student to perform a task. No? And rather than selecting an answer of a ready-made list, mga checklist lang. No? So, what will happen is that for teachers, how do we judge the quality? You should prepare based on a agreed set of criteria using a rubrics. So, meaning, later on, Engineer Stampa will be discussing to us the rubrics of PIT. No? So, wala siya, no? And this whole thing is actually under the performance-based learning. No? Or based on performance. Okay, outcomes-based pa nakaroon, no? So, is when students participate in performing the tasks or activities that are meaningful and engaging. So, muna ang word, no? Meaningful and engaging. So, when we create something nga task, we should think of these two things. It should be meaningful, it has a purpose, and it should be engaging the student. So, the purpose of this kind of learning is to help students acquire and apply knowledge, no? Acquire, apply knowledge, practice skills, and develop independent and collaborative work habits. So in such a way, mo develop sa iya holistically for the student as a person and as a professional. Ana ang atong context when we give the performance-based learning of our student. So, and the cumulating activity of the product for this performance-based learning is one that lets students demonstrate evidence of understanding through transfer of skills. So, nani itawag nga transfer of skills. So, ang skills ang atong nga na-transfer ba sa estudyante. Okay? So, unsa day characteristic based on that definition. Una nga characteristic sa kuan, sa PIT, performance task. Performance tasks call for the application of knowledge and skills, not just recall or recognition. Okay, application din siya sa katong iyang na-learn. Okay? Number one, performance tasks are open-ended and typically do not yield a single correct answer. Okay, so open-ended siya. Di siya pare atong multiple choice, kamuning answer gyud. Ano siya. So it's always open-ended. It's not always question because it uses the learning context. Ano ang context-based man siya. Okay, performance tasks establish novel and authentic context for performance. Okay, so labi na ato kay performance innovative tasks. There should be novelty. There should be innovation nga yung gibutang. And performance tasks provide evidence. Evidence of understanding via transfer. So kung na-transfer ba gyud ang skill or competency sa estudyante based on that gipagawas niya nga project or sa ba na ay yung performance task o yung presentation, etc. Okay? Also, performance task is multifaceted, meaning it's complex. Daghan siyang direction, daghan siyang input, etc. Ano siya? So, dili siya nga, so meaning, there's a thing of complexity in the PIT. That's why the cognition percentage, 20% gali siya eh. No? And kanipod, if you can apply it, it will be better, no? performance task can integrate 2 or more subject. Wala na nagpasabot nga na ay estudyante karon 5 ka subject, lahi-lahi performance task. Pwede na to na siya i-integrate nga for this 5 subject, they can have only 1 PIT. Because mo mong guna scenario nga kay tabo before. Si instructor 1 sa kanang subject nagpa-PIT. Instructor 2 nagpa-PIT. Instructor 3 nagpa-PIT. Daw karon puro na project. Pagkabot sa finals or sa midterm, nagkabuang ng estudyante kay 5 kabuk yung PIT nga gi-perform. So, why not combine it all? You can integrate it into 2 or more magsabot mo for that subject as well as to the 21st century skills. So, you can integrate. And performance tasks, remember this, you should have an established criteria and a rubrics. So, dili ta pwede mag-evaluate sa PIT nga wala tay rubrics. Wala tayong criteria because again, it's an open-ended task. Okay? Okay. So here are tips on how to design a PIT. The first one, siyempre, magsugod ta sa outcome. Identify the learning course or the course outcomes. Diba? Itong subject na tayo gitawag og course outcomes. At the end of this course, the students will be able to blah, blah, blah. Okay, remember this, nga gihatag ka na nga PIT for what particular outcome? So what outcome will be assessed through this PIT or this performance task? Number 2, consider traits implied by the outcome. Pasabot, what important qualities must student demonstrate to show the attainment of the standards and other identified goals or the outcomes of this particular nga PIT? Unsa ka dapat i-perform sa estudyante? Unsa nga mga skill, unsa nga mga competency dapat i-perform sa estudyante for this performance task? Number 3, consider HOTS in the task. So man, higher order thinking skills. Remember this, there should be complexity. So meaning ang imuhang performance task, imong i-consider higher order thinking skills. Dili lang pwede nga imura siyang gipa-enumerate. No, di siya pwede, no? That's another thing, no? Dapat naay siya application, learning. Muna atong pinaka-importante, no? So, how will the task involve higher order thinking? Muna siya yung i-consider when you do the PIT, when you design the PIT. Number 4, after this all, you now outline the basic task. Generate initial task ideas. So how will the learner demonstrate their understanding and proficiency? So when you design, tanaw nimo unsa day direction ani? Unsa day mahitabo sa learner? Okay? You can have an outline. Number 5, check for validity and alignment. So muna siya. To what extent will this task provide acceptable evidence of the tangible outcome? Okay? So asa lang makutaman? No? Later on, you will see nga naaday per PIT nga duha lang ka outcome ang iyang gi-target or isa lang ka about ang iyang gi-target nga outcome. No? It's not necessary nga katuging tulo. Nga mo kay di ba kaduha ka mo tagog PIT midterm sa finals, no? So meaning ana PIT na ko sa midterm can be nga duha lang ka outcome ang katong number sa finals na po isa na pud ka outcome. So depende, no? So check for validity and alignment nga whether kanya kung asa lang ko taman. Limitation, no? Targeted outcome sa lang gid siya. So, number 6, consider dayon kag real world application. So, ako gingon pa kanina, no? You should this outcome should consider the kanang makit-an estudyante unsa di reality connection sa iyang subject nga gi-studyhan sa iyang course nga gi-studyhan. No, nganong mag-study man ko calculus 1, unsa relationship sa electrical engineering? Nganong mag-study man ko og kani nga subject na ako, unsa relationship ani ako nga sa. So consider in your PIT real world application to flesh out the task details. So how will this task establish an authentic context for student performance? Okay, so makita nila ang context ba nga amo din ni purpose sa akong subject sa kani nga subject for this purpose. So makita nila nga inani di direction, inani ang application. So ana ang imong kuan for PIT. Okay, so dili pwede nga sa PIT nga mag-wonder yung something ano naghimo man ko ng PIT. So kana ngano nga subject. So muna ang iyang purpose. Okay? So then number 7, after doing of those things na imo tanan, you consider as scoring rubric. So how will a student performance be evaluated? How good is good enough? So dapat na kay rubrics. Number 8. Now, differentiate the task as needed. In what ways might the task be differentiated? Ano mang naaman nga situation, pwede manggod nga same subject. Example, sa amo sa electrical, circuit 1 sa EE, circuit 1 sa ECE, circuits po sa computer engineering. Kung saan man ako na siya pag-differentiate ang task anak karon, di man pwede nga ang task nga ako ipa-perform sa electrical, the same ragapon nga one task lang. Unsa man, how do I differentiate those one, the same subject pero different akong audience? So unsa nga task? Kaya definitely ingon pa ito kanina, real world real world application. So if ako estudyante computer engineering, unsay real world application sa circuit theory? So what is ana ang iyang konteksto? Okay? So number 9, assess the entire draft task and rubrics. Okay? So this is what we call self-assessment. Is this task ready to use? So what you will do is, tanaw nimo, evaluate nimo. Okay na ba ni? Pwede na ba ni i-release? Or you may ask your colleague, sabi mong kauban sa office, nga sir, okay na ba ni? Na ba kay comment, etc. Or you may ask your chairman, okay na ba ni? Okay, so it's one nga self-assessment before you release. Then, number 10, develop detailed direction for students. So, you put in your PIT some guidelines, when to submit, unsay mga requirements, accompanying resources, unsay mga references nga pwede pa nila basahon, and even the response form, especially karon sa pandemic, no, where they are going to submit that particular requirement, unsa ba sa use step ba, unsa nga link, no? Sa Edmodo or sa baka nga mga platform unsa nga link. So dapat klaro na siya sa imuhang PIT, sa imuhang sheet dito, no, when to submit, unsa mga requirement, etc. Kana siya. It's clear ang direction, clear ang deadline, clear when to submit, klaro na siya tanan dito unsa mga ipasubmit, no, guideline, etc. So what exactly are students being asked to do? So bunga ko na ang problema kay basi dili klaro sa instruction dito dapat klaro sa ating instruction nga unsay buhaton, unsay i-submit, asa ako i-submit, when to submit. So clear na siya dapat. And number 11, muna itong gakalimtan usually is the CQI, make needed revisions. So the question is, how did it go for the previous nga mga implementation nimo? What revisions are needed? So unsay mga dapat nako i-revise, no? That is for continual quality improvement, no? So you make some revisions after you implement that one, no? Because that is pag-implement nimo sa first nga PIT, basig na ay mga problema nga nahitabo. So for the next nga PIT, same nga context ha. Same nga context, but kana unsa how will you improve from that particular PIT? So muna siya. So those are just some tips in doing the PIT. Okay? So in CDIO, we do this. The CDI, the conceive, design, implement, operate, no, nga context of the PIT. So ngano man nga applicable kay sa CDIO because CDIO has this experiential learning. So in real sense, no, experiential, no, real world situation. Student-centered siya based on the context of the student, how we learn based atong mga giingon niya sa estudyante, then concentrated on learning outcomes of the students, alignment, no, sa estudyante, and teaching student how to learn. So ana siya, so meaning we focus on learning, ano, so ana man ang one. So basically siya applicable kaayo siya to teaching and learning na for engineering and architecture. Ano siya, not only for engineering and architecture, it's a whole context But si CDIO, muna yung i-focus, constructive alignment. So everything we will do, example, mag-imot ang PIT, align nyo na siya sa atong outcome, sa activities, and assessment for that ko, no? Then, si CDIO, natagitawag og design and build. That's why I have some example here in my class before, the design and build project and other performance tag activities. No, nga, sa akong klase, no? And another thing here, how do I transform this one to this new normal nga ako nga situation? Eh sa una, we can just instruct the student sa atong klase, okay, this is what you will do, this is the instruction, etc. But karon, if the new normal, how do we do that? Okay? So these are just example, this before the electromagnetic projectile canon, the sample circuit, simple circuit on real world problems, introduction to electrical engineering, na ako ani nga mga activities like the electrical engineer, working with electrical appliances, the wire splices, electrical wiring, and the latecomer student project. Okay, so this is the electromagnetic projectile canon. So klaro na akong course outcomes, stated na dapat sa imong kuan that CO1, CO3 ang iyang target ani. And it should be clear in your instructions. Dapat na kay when you give your PIT na ay instruction. So klaro nga, make your own design, then the fundamental components unsa man kanalan siya, then your design unsa imong structure, then naa po siya dapat mga limitation yung giingon kay para for learning. Kasi dapat naa kay gihatag nga sa ako 100 joules lang dapat, so i-complete na sa estudyante. And unsa ilang i-submit dapat mag-submit sila og written report and a video documentation on the design. Okay, aside from the project itself, no? So each group will compete against each other to see which design could launch the longest distance, and best class will compete with the other section. So muna sa una katong sa kuan pa before the normal, katong before the new normal. So muna ilang no, in my kuan, in my sheet nang gata sa ilaha na picture mga possible na ni ang itsura, din klaro ang mga deliverable dates, ang mga clarity sa instruction, no? When to submit their project, design presentation, project competition, 5th week, 15th week, project written report, video documentation. So kana siya klaro, no? So nadeng ko gihatag nga rubrics. So nangayo man ko sa ila og final project rubrics, dapat na po ko final project rubrics, written report rubrics, kanang written report, and ang ila pong final video sa ilang project na apo na rubrics. How do I rate this one? So muni ang iyang mga picture before, and we conduct it in our face-to-face. Okay? So sa real world problems po, say no, na ICO number 1 lang ni siya ang iyang i-target. So klaro po na yung instruction na identify problem, insights, create innovative solution, etc. So instruction. So muna siya, you should create a prototype, present a prototype, make a written report, kaya na siya, then deliverables niya ang schedule. So napo na siya rubrics, final project, video, written report. So muna yung mga pictures before. So here are some also during the intro to EE nga mga subject nako. The electrical engineer nga kuan. So this is a task that given to my student that they will demonstrate unsa diya ang life sa electrical engineer. They will interview someone. Then they working with electrical appliances. What I did to them is, ang ginila, unsa ning electrical appliances, gipabungkag na ako electrical appliance, then gipa-identify na ako sa mga parts, then ako din gipa-present sa ila unsa ning mga parts, sa mga function. So that they will know unsa kinday ang sa electrical engineering, mga first year na mga estudyante. Wire splices po do, how do we do splices electrical? Then I let them do the actual splice, then I let them present unsa ning mga splice, unsa ning mga function ani, asa di siya gamiton sa electrical engineering, etc. Electrical wiring, I give them also activity on how to do electrical wiring. So kanilang is, they have to do the wiring on their own as a group. And after that, ilahang ipasigag yun, ipansak sa outlet. Okay, kaya para mag-angkin nila nga. So sila gid ako ipapansak. But before that, siyempre naka-instructor nimo ganang i-check. Kaya ba sige niya mambuto mo tanan dito. Okay, so na yung supervision. So the kanipol is a latecomer project. Muna ilang pang last give nga PIT. So what I give them is, I let them design. This is the problem. There's a latecomer na estudyante. How will you design something? So muna yung open-ended ganing siya nga PIT. how will you design something that has this particular basic circuit lang to let this student nga di niya siya balik. So munang different ang ilang design. So munang you should give the student that freedom to choose their code. So munang sa open-ended ang iyang project dapat. Okay? So I transform this one to online assessment activities kay karon flexible learning man ta. So kana no? So simple circuit and real world problem. Kana siya. So sa una inani but karon what I give them is through task na no. So what I did is to chop the task into different tasks. Kaya sa una buok man to. So karon para dili ka siya bugat sa estudyante, I'll chop that one to different tasks. Hinahinay gibungkag. So pareaning kaning real world problem, I chopped it actually to 5 tasks. So example number 1 kani siya same gyapon no sa system makita nila nga unsa na siya nga task number 1 and unsa court outcome, unsa instruction, then deliverables, etc. Then nakabutang po diya si rubrics. Okay? So now importante po na feedback and consultation time is provided between deadlines. Okay? So ano? So task number 2 from a big chunk of task gibungkag nako siya into kuan gipardili bugat no. Sa task number 2 kani siya. So nangayo nako sa ilaha diri og written report and video. Nakatag na po ko dayon sa ila video at saka written report na rubrics. So importante nga when you give the task pataban si rubrics. Kay si rubrics mo to'y ilang direction ko. Unsa day evaluate ni sir sa akong project? Ang color ba? Or ang functionality ba sa akong gihatag nga task? Unsa ba iyang gi-check? Okay? And remember this again. In between, feedback and consultation time is provided. So especially in this new normal, dili pwede nga wala kay feedback, wala mo kay face to face. So naatay feedback and consultation time. Okay, number 3 nga task. Okay, so kana siya no. Written report, etc. Na apoy date when to submit the project proposal. And kana siya number 4, create a prototype na ni dire. Mahimo sila prototype. So through a video blog, so maghimo sila video blog, etc. Then kana siya, then performance task, then video and final project. So number 5 dayon mananing final written report nila. So 18th week then napo dayon kay rubrics for written report. Okay? So for class performance assessment katong sa face to face mo na siya electrical engineer, so I also have it using this one nga sa online na. No, so same na course outcomes, ILO kay simple sa class man ni. Then unsay iyang instruction, clear po na dapat. So mo na siya a 3-minute video, so when to submit and performance task unsa nga rubrics. So kani pod appliances same. Activity number 2 work with appliances. So CO2 klaro ang course outcome alignment no. Unsa course outcome, then unsa instruction, unsa intended learning outcomes atong syllabus na may ILO dito. Then unsa instruction nimo and unsa imong ipa-submit, i-create a video, then klaro pod kano sa i-submit, then unsa rubrics. Okay? So, kana lang ang kuan niya sa examples na ako. Then, now, the beauty of the PIT is that naa siya ikuan po sa mga instructor, just like what I found out sa architecture. Si architecture, naa sa lagi mo nga PIT sa una. This is on the architectural design course, PIT. So, ilang gi-publish. You can actually publish using your PIT. Si Architect Abilino o si Architect Iltanal nasa published paper on their PIT. So, pohon, basig sa inyong PIT, you can also have their publication later on when you gather data from your student. I encourage everyone in their PIT, if they can write a paper and publish it just like what they did, the Architect Abilino and Architect Iltanal, they have published an article for their PIT. This is actually on the study identifying three performance innovative task type. One katong sa pure 3D nila nga kuan sa drawing nila noon, manual PIT and combination of 3D and manual PIT to determine the PIT preference of the fourth year BS architecture student of USTP. So imagine that one, by just having your PIT na mo'y publication. So that's also a reward for the faculty, especially sa mga faculty. Okay, especially katong mga COS diha, no, or katong new faculty, no, na wala pa publication, you can have actually like this. Okay, so I think that's all. Thank you for listening. Hopefully, I have shared something useful to everybody, especially karon nga as we revisit how do we grade the student. Hopefully, I shared something, and I think everybody is clear enough kung sa kaya ng PIT nga. PIT laban ni or sa baka ni, no? So, kada lang siguro, good evening sa tanan and thank you for listening.
Thank you, Sir Rogen, for that substantial discussion on the policies of grading. And of course, this is also to remind us about the performance innovative task. No, we have learned the technicalities of everything, and we are hoping that all of these were taken note of, and you were able to somehow realize something sa inyong paggrado. Kung sakto ba to, naka-reflect ba sad mo, no, kung okay ba, no? Okay, so let us now proceed to, let me just share my screen again. Okay. So let us now proceed to using the scoring rubrics for marking PITs and exams, and that will be delivered to us by one of our program heads in CiTL, and of course, the principal of the senior high school, Engineer Lloyd John B. Stampa.
Hello, good evening. Am I audible?
Yes, I can hear you, Sir
Okay.
Lloyd.
Okay, may gabi sa tanan. Let me share my screen. Maklaro na, Sir Arbs ba?
Yes, I can see
Okay.
it.
Good evening sa tanan. First and foremost, I would like to say thank you for the presentation of Sir Rogen Marcilla, because based on his presentation, actually marhalos giplansa na niya ang mga gi-preempt na niya ang halos tanan ako i-discuss karon. So expect that this discussion of mine is going to be will consume like about 30 to 35 minutes of your time, because I think most of my key highlights of my discussion is anchored based gapon sa gi-discuss ni Engineer Marcilla ganina. So, may gabi sa tanan, I am Lloyd Jan Stampa, and I will be discussing to you, to all of you, using the scoring rubrics for marking PITs and exams. Okay, so sugod tani nga butang. In the first place, unsa di ang meaning sa what is performance task? So dagan ang di ba mo magyapon ng istorya ni Engineer Marcilla ganina nga the performance task is typically 20% of the grades that we give to our students, and dili nato na siya dapat basta-bastahon kay sa as what the new wave of education is trying to tell us, the teacher is being described, or you are being judged based on the PIT nga ginahatag nato sa atong mga students. Okay ha? Gina-judge ta or classify ta sa tao sa atong palibot kung unsa nga klase ang performance task or performance innovative task that we gave to our students. Why? Because for me, in my part as a teacher, encountering this performance innovative task is really a very challenging thing to do, especially sa atong tanan. Challenging in the sense nga, even though 20% siya, di ba, we can say nga 20% lang siya, and then we say nga ang exam is 40%. Okay, exam is 40%, and then ang quizzes are 30%. Then, but the performance innovative task is, even though it is only 20%, but ang iyang mga key ingredients in order to create a a certain PIT that is very suitable for the students to learn something, to incorporate real skills in the real world, to provide innovation, to design something. Nya halos tanan pa jud course outcomes is align ana sa iya. Mo jud na siya ang what makes your performance innovative task. Give the people around you an idea what kind of teacher you are, because it calls for creativity, it calls for resourcefulness, it calls for sa pa anong alignment bitaw nga di siya basta-basta kay lisod kayo ang if ang imong performance innovative task is, let's say, you are teaching mathematics subject. Don't tell me nga ang imong performance innovative task is maghatag ng lugar kag problem sets. So unsa may something new ana nga part, sa may something new ana nga part, di ba? So mo nang kuan matawag nga passive ang imong kuan, or something there is no novel component in your performance innovative task, because as what Sir Morcilia discussed earlier, performance innovative task involves student-centered approach and design, and then it calls for something new. Okay, something that the students are going to explain, or that they've come up with this experiential something discovery. So that's the performance innovative task. It's all connected to the word nga sikat kayo madunggan nato karon, ang word of innovation, nga if you want your students to be innovative, try to improve your performance innovative tasks that you're going to give to them. So that's the challenge for all of us. Okay, so it is a key approach for us teachers to give to our students if we really want to let the students experience or manifest the course outcomes or the expected outcomes we want them to have in the near future or after finishing our subjects at hand. Okay, so kani I'm just going to present sa inyo ang familiar ba tang tanan sa USTP graduate outcomes or graduate attributes. We actually have 6 graduate attributes that we are looking forward for our students, especially sa di ba ang flagship jud ba ang ang engineering and architecture sa USTP as so expected sa tuwa nga our students will lead the way sa iyahang mga batchmates to be the critical thinkers, the innovative thinkers, students with empathy, with resilience, with teamwork and communication. So these key 6 attributes, we can always anchor our performance innovative task or our examinations to these 6 graduate attributes. So I use the color blue for critical thinking and innovative thinking. Kay if niagi mo ko dire, I'm sure if nagagi mo mga education subjects or certificate of teaching, di ba naman ay ang students, in order to have a holistic education to himself or to herself, you have to identify the thinking skills, the feel skills, and the do skills. So mbogya pa na siyang ginalook forward sa atong president na si Sir Ambo nga the student should have critical thinking and innovative thinking. That's for their mind. Then for empathy and resilience is para silang feel nga skills. Okay nga, even though bright siya, innovative siya, pero at the same time napod siya empathy and resilience. And last but not the least is dapat kabalo siya og teamwork and communication. Teamwork which means nga the students or our graduates are expected to be a team player. Kay sa real world jud ba is diba you have to work with others in order to accomplish a common goal. So gina-emphasize po na sa ato nga we should design activities or examinations or quizzes that sometimes might cater the concept about teamwork para mas ma-develop po na sa mga students. And last but not the least is kaning communication. Okay nga, communication is of course we have 4 forms of communication. First is listening, reading, writing, and speaking. But of course, listening and reading are kind of passive forms of communication. The active ones are the speaking and the writing. So expect nga when may design performance innovative task, how much nice kaysa paminawan if there are components where students are going to showcase what they've done, so at least they can speak, they can practice their communication skills, and also they can write. They can write technical reports, reflection papers. So mo na siya, part na siya tanan sa gina-look forward sa atong university nga mo'y mga graduate attributes sa atong mga students. Duha sa utok, critical thinking and innovative thinking, duha sa kasing-kasing, empathy and resilience, and duha sa kamot, teamwork and communication. So, actually this is being I have a picture here with our president himself. Siya mismo ang nag-present sa one of their administrative councils or sa management meetings that they have presented this. Makita na to diya na ang thinking skills, ang skills and knowledge is muna siya sa resilience and empathy muna siya sa feel skills, and then sa do skills dayon isang makita na to nga teamwork and collaboration and communication skills. So makita ha, klaro kayo. I'm not saying ako rin nagsurasturya ani. Even the president himself said that this should be emphasized, especially to the way we assess our students, the way we design our activities, and the way we create our performance innovative tasks. Okay? So, familiar masiguro tang tanan, di ba? Sa Bloom's taxonomy. We know that there's this remembering, understanding, applying, analyzing, evaluating, and creating. So just for a recap, kaning remembering, understanding, ug applying are considered as lower order thinking skills. Lower order, it doesn't mean nga lower order marghina education, but as psychologists say, or psychiatrists says that the lower order thinking skills is usually doesn't consume too much neurons in our brain. Murag ang brain daw nato at that time, when we remember, when we understand, or when we apply, we're only using a few percentage of our brain. But whenever we analyze, we evaluate, or we create, that's called higher order thinking skills, which means nga we have to trigger and focus this, especially if we design activities for our students. If we really want them to be innovative, if we really want them to be harboring or developing these skills, the 6 graduate attributes along the way, pagsugod pa lang sa first year pa lang sila until mag-graduate sila, then much better if we always if we focus on the analyzing, evaluating, and creating activities for the students. Okay. So if magpa-design ta, mas maayo jud nga most of the time mag-analyze sila, mag-evaluate sila, o mag-create sila. So mo ning gingon ganina ni what do you call that? Engineer Marcilia, that we have to whenever we design performance innovative tasks, we let our students do higher order thinking skills, which means nga kung sa Bloom's taxonomy pa, dapat ang sa imuhang mga instructions para sa students are let them analyze, let them evaluate, and let them create. Okay, so this is a very good guide if you really want to create good performance innovative tasks for students, or activities for them, or examinations. Okay, so this is just an analogy. So when we design exams, when we design our PIT, kay murag kita lagi ko ng mga teachers, kita mga instructors, murag tag magluto, di ba? So kung magluto ta, dapat we have to mix ingredients well. So as what they say, magyapon naging ni Engineer Marcilia ganina, there should be constructive alignment, which means nga you have to make sure nga ang kaning imong mga PIT or ang imong design exams is connected sa imong course outcomes. Connected sa imong course outcomes, and then connected pa jud sa itong mga graduate attributes. Ikaduha is context-based, o dapat skill for the real world. Hindi kaya na to ang content-based nga, what if basig ang imong PIT is puro ra ipamemorize sa estudyante, puro lang formula substitution, puro lang mga essay nga mas more sa content. Why not let them do experiential activities, or kana bitong activities nga connected jud sa real world nga they can actually appreciate the activity because some skills have been developed within themselves. Okay, then it triggers higher order thinking. Okay, as what I said earlier, nga, most of the time, let them evaluate, let them create, or let them synthesize something. So that's the thing they have to do. And then, of course, you have to use appropriate rubrics. This is what I'm saying later. They're going to do this. They're going to do this. Explain ako nganong kinahanglan mo jud mag-rubrics ta in the first place, okay? So every time nga na activity, every time nga na exam, there should be an accompanying rubrics ahead. Okay? If possible, ayaw ihatag ang rubrics sa last nga part. Ayaw ihatag ang rubrics sa last nga part. Dito ka sa sugod pa lang dapat na ang rubrics. Okay? And then with this whenever we design exams, try to reflect on yourselves nga ang gi-exam ba na akong gihimo or ang PIT ba nga akong gihimo is mas nakapamotivate ba sa students nga mag-learn sila, or basig mo nang rason nga every time nga magpa-PIT ka sa ila or magpa-exam ka sa ila, ang gakahitabo is mura galuya sila. Kaya in the first place, di sila kasabot, wala sila makita nga alignment. We should avoid that thing from our students because as human as we are, we have to understand them, we have to empathize with them, and we have to really design we have to think critically, what are these activities, what are these exams that we are going to design for the students to continue learning. Nga bahala gamay ang iyang score sa imong subject, bahala gamay ang iyang score sa imong exam, sa PIT, magpadayon gyapon siya og tudlo kay na siya gakakita nga sense, substance ug alignment nga this is something to help him or her improve. Okay? So that's why you have to provide alignment, there's skills connected, and most of the time, the students are designing, student-centered learning, and there is rubrics. Dapat may basis tanan every time mo grade ta sila. Okay? So, why use rubrics? Again, di ba? Ganong why use rubrics, Jud? So, okay, if you type that term like even in the Google nga, why use rubrics, there are several reasons nga why you have to use rubrics. First and foremost, it's a very good guide to assess the students in an objective way, without bias. And aside pa jud ana is it helps it helps us faculty to also to be professional in a way nga dili ta pwede mahilabdan sa estudyante nga basig ang estudyante mareklamo nga, sir, ngano ang akong score sa akong PIT, sir, is out of 100 is 22 raman, sir. And then what if wala kayo mapakita ang rubrics sa iya, ha? Di ba? So, nganong 22 ko, sir, dayon si akong classmate, sir, is 28. Yeah, and then kung sa lugar ang ingon nimo, moingon ang lugar din ka nga mas nice magud ang iyang trabaho kaysa imuha. So mas nicer. So asa nga part, sir, mas nicer? Sa asa nga part, sir, mas lig-on ba ang iyang gihimo, sir? Mas taas ba ang words sa iyang reflection? Mas mahal ba ang materials na iyang gigamit? And then wala kay napakita nga rubrics. Wala kay napakita nga rubrics. So manang rason nga, there were several instances nga gikiha jud ang faculty. Okay, gikiha jud ang faculty sa mga students. Especially nga wala kay siya nakapakita sa iyang record book, wala kay siya napakita nga rubrics sa pag-grade niya sa mga projects sa students, manang gikiha siya. So technically, on the side po sa ato faculty, using rubrics will help us defend ourselves. Okay nga magkinaunsa man whatever nga gihatag nga grade nato sa students, tungod kay natay rubrics, nay klaro nga basis, then dili makareklamo ang students. Kay naman tayo mapakita nga gamay imong score kay sa kaning nga component, sa kaning nga part sa imong skill, wala pa kayo di pa kayo competent ani nga part. So at least na black and white ba, na ay document nga to makita nga pwede mag-meet up ang atong mga expectations with the students. So that is one good advantage of using rubrics. Okay? So the benefits of using rubrics, una is helps clarify vague or fuzzy goals. Diba? The keyword there is goals. At least kabalo ang students, help students understand your expectations. Diba? Mo ginang rason nga if possible kung magpa-exam ka or kung magpa performance innovative task ka, ihatag tanan. ihatag tanan especially ang rubrics. Kay lisod mo kayo nga okay, you have designed this performance innovative task but wala pa ka nakahatag sa rubrics, so maglutaw ang estudyante. Kay what if you let them do a documentation, you let them do a design, you let them do a video tutorial, or you let them present something. So dagan kayo, let's say upat ka book task. Wala ka bulong kung wala ka naghatag og rubrics, wala ka bulong estudyante nga pila day ang katong presentation. 35% ba siya sa total grade or 15% or 20% ba? Wa siya kabalo. So dili kanya makita asa siya mo focus. Sigurista po ba yung estudyante dapat kabalo sila nga para asa ni tanan. Kay basin man gud nga sa gihatag natong upat ka task sa ilaha within sa isa ka performance innovative task, basin day dako kayo nato nga kuan nga percentage sa assessment sa paggrado is dito sa documentation. Kunya sa design is gamay-gamay lang. So manang rason nga maybe that will contribute to the frustration and misconceptions sa students about performance innovative task. Kaya sa sugod pa lang, wa man siya kabalo asa unsahon siya pag-assess. Di ba? So in order to be professional, to sa sugod pa lang we set the expectations right. We have to use rubrics. Okay? At least kabalo estudyante asa unsa nga butang ayang dapat i-develop ug unsay dapat sa itsura sa iyang i-deliver sa imuha. Okay? And with that, it helps students to self-improve. Okay? So, makita niya nga dili kay siya maayo mo storya, but nakita man niya nga sa rubrics nimo is 35% ang oral recitation. So at least iya diyan nag-develop. Okay, in order to maximize that 30% that you have set for the rubrics of the PIT, or then inspire better student performance. So mas ma-inspire siya kay kabalo siya nga sukdon siya ani nga mga butang. Dili nga nagsugo lang ka, then ipasa na ninyo ha, pasa na ninyo. Pero actually siya kabalo unsa ka ko paggraduan ni. Di ba? Maglutaw ka unsa ka ko paggraduan ni. Di ba? So that's kind of it inspires better student performance if you always use rubrics. It makes scoring easier and faster. Kaya na may matrix, di ba? If good, very good, needs improvement, at least makita nato. Okay? So that's it. Then, it makes scoring more accurate, unbiased, and consistent. Consistent in the sense nga you really have to select. Asa dapit sa matrix ang iyang paggrado. Dito ba siya sa 4, sa 5, sa 3, sa 2. Gibahin naman daan with complete description. So, it's more accurate and then wala kay bias. Di ba? Dili nun sa kung para wala student mo storya nga si sir, pabor-pabor man na si sir. Pabor-pabor man na si ma'am. Kaya wala mo kay basis nga ipakita sila. So that's how important rubrics are. Then it's improve feedback to students and reduce arguments with students. Okay? Kaya di ba? Whenever you give feedback to the students, you bring the rubric. Okay? So based on yung gihatag nga prototype, based on yung presentation, kung tanaw to sa rubrics, namo diri sa number 4. So klaro, na black and white nga butang na inyong basihan sa estudyante o sa imo as instructor. Okay? And above all po is improve feedback to faculty and staff. Okay, so may improve halos tanan, we improve ourselves as faculty and also sa mga people around us if naadyoy basihan nga papel ang tanan. Okay, sa atong kuan. So that's why we should look forward of always using rubrics and know its importance. Okay, so when designing exams and performance innovative tasks for the students, remember to focus on the attributes you need to measure. This will then guide you in creating your rubrics. Again, sa istorya pag-yapon ni Engineer Marcilia ganina, focus daan sa mga course outcomes. Then, with my addition karon nga, tanawa kung link ba jud na siya sa kadtong graduate attributes nga expected sa atong university nga ma-develop sa atong students. Katong graduate attributes nga critical thinking, innovative thinking, empathy, resilience, teamwork, and communication. So, try to make sure nga gakaigo na silang duha permanente. So that at least you know nga ang performance innovative task or ang imong examination is technically relevant kay encompassing man siya sa mga necessary ingredients for a holistic student experience dani sa USTP. Okay? So like for example, kung magpa-essay ka, like example, an essay exam. So a strong cold front approached Florida and severe storm resulted as the front approach, sustained winds from the south increased to 50 miles an hour with some gusts higher than 80. As the front passed, The wind switched to the northwest and then slowly diminished. Was this storm a hurricane? Explain your conclusion, briefly describing how each piece of information presented above was used in drawing your conclusion. So if in case ani, so imagine na kung wala mag-answer ka ani, kani exam niya exam. Wala kay rubrics ano, wala kay attributes nga gipakita nato sa estudyante. So kung 8 points ni, worth 8 points ni siya. So kanus man lugar ka mohatag og 5 points. Kanus man lugar ka mohatag og 8 points. Kanus ka mohatag og 3 points. Kanus ka mohatag og 2 points. Di ba? So pwede ka ma-question sa students ana if in case ka wala kay gipakita sa nga assessment rubric daan nga guide para sa iyaha. So with this, at least you have identified the attributes to be scored. So at least kita nimo nga there are 4 attributes nga makita or key attributes I'm not saying sa student nga attributes nga within sa imong exam. So gipakita diri nga if ma-classify sa student nga storm jud siya o dili hurricane, you will give 1 point. If makita niya nga identifies absence of a closed circulation around a calm center, if masturya na niya, 2 points. If wala din, pwede 1, pwede 0. Depending na sa mga academic freedom. So identifies absence of sustained wind, 3 points. And then if mag-identify pa 3 characteristics sa weather system, then you will give 2 points. So at least, if in case nga mag-question ang students, nga sir, nganong 2 points naman ko over 8, then you show this. Tanawa sa itong pag-look na ko sa attributes. Sa upat nga dapat maigo nimo, 2 rang imong naigo. So that's why 3 points ra ka. So dili na mag-question ang students. So that's how powerful using key assessments whenever we use we have exams for the students So that's how powerful rubrics are. So how about this? Like for example, kato ganina is kung magpa-essay ka. So ato ang mga major exam. Sa ako, this is an example. I am an electronics engineer. So what if technically part man ni sa mua nga the students are going to design a circuit plus mathematical calculation with illustration. What if I will give this 20 points? So kanus man ko mohatag nga sa 20 points, kanus man ko mohatag if ang score sa students is 4/20 lang ba, 6/20, or 12/20, or 8/20? Di ba? Kay murag murag overall man ni siya na ipa-design, ipa-drawing. Then I have to create scoring rubrics for this. Di ba? Para na ko'y guide. Kaya para in case na mag-question ng bata ng anong 8/20 ra siya, na ko'y kapakita. Okay? So maybe I can show this. Like attributes to be scored is if ma-identify niya correctly ang all given as specific values for working variables, I will give him or her 2 points. If sakto nga formula ang yang ma-select, I will give 2 points. If sakto ang substitution sa mga working formula based sa gihatag nga given, I will give additional 2 points. If wala, then 0 siguro or 1. If maka-provide siya clear illustrations, then I will allocate 4 points for that. Then if comprehensive mathematical calculations, iyang mapakita, then I can show nga, I can give him or her 10 points maximum. So you add that, at least 20 points. So makita sa students nga, busa din nga koan, at least 20 points ko. At least 14 ko kay wala ang akong illustrations is dili kayo maayo. Even though correct akong answer, pero akong illustrations is kuan lang kanang vague kayo or basig mo tong na kuan ko ni sir. So sige lang, at least klaro next time, klaro na ako kung illustrations. So di ba? At least na basis ang students ana. Kay mo nang rason pud sa to nga especially sa ato engineering uso jud gyapon ni nga especially sa mga major subjects nga na ay one question lang unya bali 50 points. Grabe sa kayo. Di ba? Murag ito, isa lang ka question and then that's worth 50 points. Murag giunsa man na nato. We have to reflect on ourselves nga what nga kanang isa lang ka sub out of 100 items, do lang lugar ka questions and that's worth 50 points din tanan. So maybe we need to look anapod, no? We need to look ba atong tanawon nga murag sakit ra siguro kayong 50 points. If check 50, then if wrong murag 10/50. So that mo nang rason nga then ada yun matandog ang mga estudyante siguro. Maybe mo nang rason nga mo question na sila sa the way we assess their competencies and their knowledge and their skills. So that's why, again, I am emphasizing, whenever we perform an exam or a performance innovative task, always accompany it with a corresponding rubric para kabalo ang students in a justifiable way nga ma-feel niya nga ang pag-grade na to sa ilaha is sakto og naay basihan. Naay concrete nga basihan. Ana, asa ni nga points allocated. Di ba? So that's it. So how about mathematics? If you are teaching mathematics, like an aircraft tracking station determines the distance from a common point 0 to each aircraft, an angle between the aircrafts, if angle O between the two aircraft is equal to 49 degrees and the distance from point O, okay, diba? Then you find the distance D between the two aircrafts. So provide illustration and utilize 3 decimal places in your solution. So what if 10 points ni siya? Yeah? So kanus man makakuha 10. Of course, kung makuha dito na, di ba? But unsa dapat ang nasa 10 points, di ba? Unsa dapat? So unsa pod ang makakuha 5. So unsa dapat na basihan. So maybe we can also use, para sa ako, this is a suggestion, I will still use sa katong major ganina nga if tanan ang given na formula, di ba? Kay mo magyapon ning himon sa students, di ba? The right the given, the working formulas, substitutions, illustrations, and solution. Then maybe with this, we can give nga if sakto yung solution, 5 points, sakto ang pag-substitute, pero wala siya na-provide. Wala siya na-provide ng illustration. So therefore, out of 10, 7 ra siya or 8 ra siya. So at least ba, naibasihan. So again, I emphasize whether mathematics ka, essay ka, or design na siya, you have to put a rubrics for the students to have a basis of how they will be assessed. So how about this? Design-based exam. Like for me, I do this in my control system subjects. Like I let them design theoretically a multitasking control system. Tank A can control via wireless transmission. Flow meter from tank C is connected to tank B, sending measurements. Tank B performs batch processing. So, and this is worth 25 points. Critical kini siya. This calls for critical thinking and deep analysis from the students. So I really have to give rubrics ani. Okay, dili pwede nga wala na siya rubrics and then mingon lang ko nga if check 5, if check 25, if wrong 5/25. So maybe I have to, if 5/25 ang yung if wrong, then I have to showcase something. Anong 5 ra? So that's why I have to put rubrics. I have to divide these 25 points into several points. Like for example, if the students can provide complete illustrations, then that's 8 points. Then if maka-explain siya 4 theories nga maka-support sa iyang design, is I can give 8 points. Pero kung tulura ka theory, then instead nga 8, I can give 6, di ba? Then provide 2 inherent characteristics sa each component. So if 2, 4 points. Pero if isa ra yang ma-provide, then maybe 2 points ang ihatag. If wala, then 0. Di ba? Then provide 3 mathematical calculations supporting the feasibility. So ano na, by ratio proportion, 3, 4, 5, ana. At least dili ko ma-question sa students nga this is how the scoring is going to be done. Okay, so these are the rubrics sa pag-score. Okay? So ina naka-powerful ang rubrics, just to emphasize its importance sa ito ang it will protect us, it makes us transparent to the students, and at least the students will know, again, the students will know that nakuha na niya nga score kay wala niya na-perform nga mga butang based sa imuang exam or based sa PIP na maihatag sila. Okay? So again, for always be ready to present. Amo ning gi-present gyapon ni Engineer Marcilia ganina. We always have to be vigilant in having our record book or the grade sheet. Always be ready to present it anytime. Like always be professional, be transparent, and protect yourself. Okay, we don't know kanus pandemic man ta karon, di ba? Siguro so mild ra siguro kayo ang chance ng students will go to our office and with maybe with the mother, with the father, or with the uncle, or with the guardian. Di ba? Sometimes there are those students who are very sensitive when it comes to grade. Like for example, we gave the students a grade of 2.75 in the midterm, and then maybe the student, let's say, is ano kaya siya, aspiring student kaya siya, and then first time naka-receive siya of 2.75. And then nibisita siya sa tuwa sa office. Okay. Sir, ano 2.75 man ako midterm, sir? Ma'am, ano 2.75 raman? And then at that time ikaw is wala nimo napaki kay syempre ang kaning record book mo nimo protect sa ato nga ano raw sige tanaw to sa record book. Oh, so at least natin mapakita nga ano di ay. So inana jud kanang for us you have to keep abreast and be diligent in using the record book para sa ato kay pwede ta mo nang mag-away or makiha bata sa students like ako for in my case I have known some stories pod nga kana bitong students is kuan nabagsak ang student, then of course niadto siya sa kuan niadto siya sa kanang eskwelahan, then giadtuan ng teacher. Then ang teacher bitaw is kana bitaw sometimes murag basic at that time na mag-uban teacher nga if i-question sa students nga anong inana ang iyang grado, ang mahitabo na noon ang teacher ma-defensive. Di ba dapat open lang ta nga ikabagsak mo ka kay tanawa nakita din nato ang atong record book. Ang himong sa uban is dili bagsak ka klaro kay nga bagsak ka gagmay kay mga score. Igura mo ana ba? Walay ka pakita nga black and white, walay ka pakita nga record book. Tabla jud na. Yeah, matimingan dayon nga kadto nga student is kursonada jud kayo nga ikiha ka kay at that time nag-final exam na or kung anong wala man kayo ma-present nga record book, nga grading sheet. So again, that's how important of keeping always abreast with the record book and present it transparently to the students. Para makita nato na sila, para to protect ourselves pod. Okay, to protect ourselves. So let's keep that in mind always. Nga the record book is the black and white thing that will protect us along the way whenever we deal with our students, if ever they will ask for assessments from us. Okay? So next. So constructive alignment approach. So mo tong yung gyapon ganyan ni Engineer Marcilla, like whenever you design an exam or a performance innovative task, you start with the expected outcomes. So tanawa ang expected outcomes adto sa imong syllabus. Adto daan sa imong core syllabus. Tanawa pila to ka CO1, CO2, CO3, CO4. Then tanawa unsa ito mong mga expectations nimo sa mga students. So if mo na mga expectations nimo, kabalo ka nga, you want them to appreciate something, you want them to understand the theories about architectural drafting, you want them to be able to design and showcase their skills. So at least you have the familiarity of having these course outcomes. Then along the way, you design the exam, you design the performance innovative task or the activity, making sure that the key outcomes can really be triggered. Okay, for example, you want them nasa mga course outcomes nga the students would be able to design circuits that and showcase it and present it in an innovative way. So mag-design siya. Pero ang imong performance innovative task is ang gihimo nimo is reflection paper. So asa man ang design nato nga part, di ba? So mo na siya ang challenging. Okay, it should be aligned. Ayaw pag ang kanang course outcomes dili man ingon nga gibutang lang na sa syllabus, pero gusto nimo ang nasa course outcomes ipa-design o ipa-appreciate sa mga theories, pero ang gihimo nimo is nagkuha ng bata nag problem solving lang perminti, walay design nga part. So mo nang ma-question jud ka. So that's how important is for the alignment. And last but not the least, the third part is assess the exam. PIT or activity, making sure that the key outcomes can be assessed systematically and appropriately, di ba? Itong alignment, kabalo ka sa outcomes, nag-design ka sa activity, sa exam or sa performance innovative task para ma-trigger na ang mga outcomes, then you have to assess that in a systematic way, unbiased way, and then in a black and white manner. Therefore, diri nga part sa ikatulo, diri na mosulod si rubrics. Rubrics goes here and plays a very important part. Okay, whether ma-exam na siya o ma-PIT, dapat mag-rubrics jud ta. Because it's a very important thing. Diba? Kay musto protektahan nato to kagalingon kay para if in case nga mo question ng mga bata nganong inana iyang grado, at least natin kapakita nga sa kani nga part to makita nimo o gamay imong score ani nga skill, kani nga part wani mo ning mga part, kani nga task wani mo na task, at least even ang atong mga expectations. Okay? So that's how important ang rubrics. Now, like for example, personally, di ba ka-remember gyapon ta nang magkwanta maghatag tas mga TOS, okay, mag-TOS, mag-design tag mga exam. So it all starts with reflect and always start with your course outcomes when you're creating your rubrics. So this is my example for me sa akong innovative subject nga ginatudlo. Students can evaluate. Mo nang mas maayo pod nga ang imong try to revisit pod your course outcomes. Try to make the verbs or the action words by the students nga himo nila is try to put the higher order thinking skills nga verbs din na nga, di ba? Itong higher order gali, they evaluate, they analyze, and they create. So that's why I also pressured myself nga I have to put that as the course outcomes for the students. Ayaw tong permanente na lang katong the students would be able to understand. Kaya understand bitaw is ano jud ba na siya lower order thinking skills lang, or they will remember or familiarize. That's good for a start, but those are lower order thinking skills. So why not revisit your course outcomes, and para mas ma-pressure ta nga ang performance innovative task nato and then ang atong exams usually will cater students to do higher order thinking skills, then we have to revise our course outcomes for that to happen para klaro po ang basis nato, di ba? Okay, so you reflect on that and then you create then ng rubrics after you design the activity. So if you are having some challenges in capturing the students' learning outcomes in an exam or in their performance innovative task, kaya kay basig overloaded ra kay ba nga mo to ipa-design nimo sila, then ipa-present nimo sila, then maghimo pa din sila technical paper, or what if inana na kay tulo ka task, basig overwhelming ra kay na sa imo sa para students o para pod sa imo kay ano ka ipahimo na ko sila tulo ka butang pero unsa man ako paghimo rubrics ani. So to simplify, if tulo man ka task na siya or tulo ba ka stages or tulo ka category, then subdivide that. Bahina, if tulo ka butang ang involved ana, then bahino nimo katulo. Then sa kada bahin, you create a rubric. So I will show you an example here. Kani, like for example, sa rubric, in my innovative subject that I'm teaching, it's called the first performance innovative task is the art of speaking up. So speaking up lang ni siya, at least kabalo ko nga gakaigo ang students ani sa katilang communication skills and then teamwork and empathy. So it's a performance innovative task designed to let the students experience and showcase their communication skills to eventually come up with an innovative design solution for the community. So again, as what they say, devil is in the details. So you have to make sure nga sa imong gihatag nga performance innovative task sa student, the instruction should be clear there. Kaya muna nga expect as performance innovative task din ang mga instruction. Even though task na siya, pero it will really help the students to know unsa jud mo gusto ipahimo sa ilaha. So expect to put full detail with your instructions in doing performance innovative tasks. Okay? So sa kaning example, I divide it into 3 with my team. There is a stage 1, stage 2, and stage 3. So for stage 1, at least mo pa ni siya if mag-rubrics ta. I put something here nga gibutang nako balik ang picture sa katong graduate attributes nato: critical thinking, innovative thinking, empathy, resilience, teamwork, and communication. So whenever you set a rubrics, always make sure nga it's a healthy na nga bahin ang 5 ka bahin. Ayo pag rubrics nga dora ka rubrics nga good and then bad. So di na pwede. So usually by practice, mas maayo tong imong rubrics is at least 5. Di ba? Sa 5 kay para at least ang 3 is mo pinaka middle. 3. So if ang 3 ang good, then ang 2 ang fair, ang 1 ang needs improvement, ang 4 ang very good, and then 5 ang pinaka ang excellent. Okay? So bahina din na dapat kay sa rubrics magudili dapat there should be a clear division to differentiate a level of task or a level of competency from one level to another. Like for example, if mo istorya ka nga mas nice ang yang output, what do you mean nga nice ang output? Asa ang nice? Ang aesthetics nga part, ang content nga part, ang formatting nga part, ang cleanliness nga part. di ba inana? So dapat ni sakto nga bahin. So if mo story ta about sa aesthetics, so unsa di ang meaning sa word nga tsada? Tsada siya if gamay ra nga wires ang makita. Tsada siya kung wala joy wires nga makita sa prototype. Tsada siya kung ang pintal nga gigamit is kanang limpyo or kanang cleared ba, or kung or tsada ba siya kung walay pintal gibutang, or kana bang tsada ba siya kung ang video nga gihimo is nay subtitle or walay subtitle, kung nabay music or walay music, diba? So muna dapat you have to put details there. So for this, like for example, sa stage 1, they're going to interview mga good people here in order to create some innovative solution. So they focus sa first, at least duwara ka criteria ang gibutang in terms of content and then in terms of delivery. So at least at this part, makita if I will relate this, and if you can read some of this, at least I with the 6 graduate attributes, at least kabalo ko nga gaka-trigger ang critical thinking, ang empathy, ang communication at this part. So at least sa 6, sa first lang na akong gabahin, gakaigo na ang 3. So at least that will give me confidence that what I'm doing is a relevant and a valid rubric. So for stage 2 is from stage 1 ang target na ako or sa unang gabahin is ang content and then ang delivery. Sa second part nga sa rubric is ang questions quality and the feedback processing. So digraduhan ko na mo ani together with my team because I'm proud to say nga this rubric is not done by me lang. I have consulted with we are six instructors teaching the same subject ang nag-brainstorm mi unsa na to paghimo aning rubrics. Kay sometimes man good if ikaw ra maghimo sa rubrics, why not ask pod sa idea sa katong teacher nga gatudlog gyapon na nga subject. Maybe basig na pod siya ma-share nga butang nga wala nimo nakita. So that's how powerful peer faculty mentoring ang ato ng exercise, okay? So with this part, gikon nako ang quality ug ang feedback processing. So at least I give 2 points there and then 3 points here. So it's not me, it's just me and my team doing this stuff. So that's nice about creating rubrics. How about you, Jay, especially if ikaw ra isa maghimo, but when you tap another faculty, when you tap another fellow faculty, then it makes things easier. Okay, so just be open-minded to ask for help. Okay, I'm sure as long as we are very open-minded to learn something new, to develop something, 2 heads are better than 1, or 3 heads are better than 1. Okay, so sa madini sa synthesis na din nga part, ang amo na din gi-focus din ani sa atong articulation and then ang reflection nga part. Okay, so how articulate the students have done that thing, and then what were his or her reflection with the activity. So mo to challenging gyud ang PIT adto nga time kay dagan ay naghimo, even though it's an art of speaking up lang, but there are some key components that they have done that we have to tagtaron ba kay para mas klaro nga magbutang kog rubric dani, and magbutang kog rubric dani. Di ba as what Engineer Marcilia said earlier, so kato yung electronic if you remember sa yung electronic nga railgun, di ba he let the students, he's expecting the students to do a video, the prototype and the documentation. Video, prototype, and documentation, all encompassing into one purposeful PIT. So therefore, if naay video, naghimo siya rubrics para sa video. Naay presentation, naghimo po siya rubrics para sa presentation. And then napoy documentation, so naghimo po siya rubrics para sa documentation. So di ba at least, so if in case nga when we design PIT and then we set scoring rubrics for it or sa exams, if overwhelming ra kayo ang yang package, why not divide it accordingly into subcategories, and then for each subcategory, subtask or substage, then you create the rubric. Okay, definitely it will make things easier. So sa kanila I want to share po sa inyo ang katong rubrics na ko for atong nag-create og final exam pod for my innovative subject. What I've done here is this one. I put the criteria into 3: the relevant content and reference, the innovative context, and the clarity and organization of ideas. So ako nang tataron karon and will share some sa inyo ha. So at least diyan giabayan ako ang picture. Again, giabay na pud nako ang critical thinking, ang katong graduate attributes para na jud ko i-guide kung unsa ang gakaigo. And then gi-cut na ako unsa kita ko mga course outcomes. For this subject, I have 5 course outcomes. So when I revisited my course syllabus, so with this, ako nang ipakita nga sa kaning criteria sa relevant content and reference, I am triggering the critical thinking and empathy skills of the students through makita na siya sa graduate attributes. And then if I will look sa course outcomes, I nakita na ko nga ang alignment is na-trigger ang course outcome 1, course outcome 2, and then course outcome 4. So sa graduate attributes, naigo ang critical thinking and empathy. And then sa course outcomes is CO1, CO2, CO4. So at least that gives me confidence again nga I'm doing something relevant nga rubrics to the for the students. Okay, at least nakoy guide. And then with this, I divided it into 5. There's the good, the very good, the excellent. So 20%, 40%, 60%, 80%, and 100%. So what do you mean by 20%? I can give minimum of 1 and maximum of 3 points. Then sa good, let's say 7 minimum, 9 points maximum. So at least, so when will I give 7? When will I give 9? Like for example sa good, lagi ba? So di na dayon mo sulod yung academic freedom. As you interpret this rubric instrument, 7 ni siya if example nga nadyo nahatag nga example or wala ba nahatag nga example, ano na. So imo na you can always discuss that with the students, okay? So that's it. Sa next dayon is sa innovative context, na-trigger na akong innovative thinking sa graduate attributes. And then when I visited the course outcomes, nakita na ako nga naigo ang course outcome 4 ug ang course outcome 5. So at least ako pang gibahin diri same gap on 5 kabahin and then 10 points maximum. Sa PICAS, 15 points maximum man to siya. 15 plus 10 plus 10. So that's 25 points. 15 plus 10 plus 10. So that's 35 points. Okay, so muna siya. And then sa clarity and organization of ideas, nabantayan na ako nga na-trigger na ako ang iyang communication skills sa atong base, atong graduate attributes. And then sa course outcomes, nakita na ako nga na-trigger ang course outcome 1. And then again, I divide it accordingly na po ng points. So if in case nga mo grade ko sa students nga, sir, nga nang inani man ang ako ang score, sir? So at least ako mapakita nga sa kuwang final exam nga sa total points, sa 15 points maximum ako nahatag sa mga ni is lang. Diri kan nakadiri sa fair. So nakay 6 points. Then sa innovative context, dito ka sa very good. So 8. So 6 plus 8, 14 points ka. Then sa clarity and organization of ideas is fair ka. So plus 4, so 20. So manang rason nga ang score nimo is 20 over 35. So at least makayong estudyante, so di nga part sir ba? So at least safe ko nga at least confident enough nga na-basis ang pag-grade na ako sa students. Dili nga mata-mata technique lang, di ba? Kay again, siguro based lang siguro sa practice sa katong dili kay anad mag-rubrics, pwede nga mo justify lang ka nga wala kay ka nagamit og rubrics. Pero what if na porsyonada jud king estudyante nga mangutana sa asa nga part sir? Asa nga part sir? Ana ba kay we expect that these students in USTP are very very competitive, very innovative, and mga kuan sila very quality learners pod. So expect nga a ratio or a portion of them is going to be very enthusiastic and very sensitive when we gave them grades already. So what's the best way to do that? To always do management control and to defend ourselves. Safe task, safe sila, professional tanan, use rubrics. Kaya para at least klaro ang exam, klaro po ang performance innovative task. Okay? So this would be my last slide. The key components of assessment using rubrics is we have to remember these two components nga make sure nga imong rubrics na gigamit has validity and has reliability. Okay? So validity, reliability, they play along with each other. So in order to understand better unsa juning validity and reliability, I have some questions nga ipakita dani for us all to reflect nga are the rubrics we're doing is really appropriate or good para sa gidesign nato nga exams, gidesign nato nga activity o gidesign nato nga performance innovative task. So first is the design rubric really constructively aligned? Di ba mo to? Connected ba dyan siya sa graduate attributes nato? Connected ba dyan siya sa imong course outcomes? Connected ba dyan siya sa imong intended learning outcomes? You can always check that. Tanawang imong course syllabus. Diba? If connected siya, good. If dili ka siya connected, then revise. Revise. Kay sabihin pa ni Engineer Morcilia gyapon kanina, expect nga ang rubrics, there is continuous quality improvement. So, it doesn't mean nga nag-design ka rubric karon, that's the rubrics for the next sem, for the next sem, for the next sem. Expect nga as you reflect it along the way, based sa feedback sa mga students, yung makita nga, siguro i-adjust na ko nga part 2 kay murag para mas ma-justifiable ni siya o mas fair gamiton nga rubrics. Okay? So the next question is it really measuring the intended learning outcomes? So as what I said earlier nga, nasa imong course outcomes or intended learning outcomes is dapat makabalo mo design ng mga estudyante. Kabalo mo design. Pero ang imong PIT is gipa-reflect lang nimo siya or gipahimo nimo siya kuan tutorial video. So where's the design part there? Di ba? So you have to reflect on, you have to reflect ourselves, okay? So siguro mo man ang asset siguro nato mga teachers nga open-minded kita to learn something new. So with all humility, try to learn, we have to learn also from our mistakes and continue improving, okay? Then, do the different levels clearly show justifiable difference of competence? So this is what I am saying kanina nga delikado ang rubrics nimo if in case nga ang rubrics lugar nimo is tulo lang lugar kabahin like good, bad, and then excellent. So mura magog sure ka nga ang diferensya sa good ug sa bad is kanilang jud. Di ba napa may mga very good or fair or ana kay para mas matadtad pa nimo ba kay base di ang estudyante pag grade nimo either good or bad is basig in between jud siya sa good and bad. So muna ang rason nga you have to do several levels sa imong rubrics. So unhealthy kay nang tulo lang. Usually sa mga naandad is 5 din na ka level. And then sa 5 ka levels ibutang din mo dito ang description nga unsay diferensya day ni fair assessment sa good nga assessment, sa very good nga assessment ug sa excellent assessment. Dapat na mga key highlights nga makabutang dito nga mga parameters. Okay? Okay, so last but not the least is kani if other assessors will use the rubric, will they have similar results as compared to yours? So it's all about reliability. Mo man concern niya sa reliability sa mga rubrics. Okay, di reliable lang imong rubrics kay for example, na prototype gid himo ang mga bata. Then you use your rubric. So imo din gigraduhan. Okay, mani akong grade. Then if reliable jud na imong rubrics, if lahi nga faculty ang mo tan-aw gamit imong rubrics, dapat if reliable imong rubrics, dapat pare-parehas ra siya mo assess sa imuha gamit ang rubrics. Kay kung lahi iyang pagka-assess based sa understanding sa imong rubrics, then something is wrong sa imong rubric. Diba? So that's reliability. So na naka-powerful ang rubrics man good kay diba? If in case good nga mo absent ang faculty or simba ko lang na may tabo nga health condition. So at least nya nag-submit na ang mga students sa faculty sa ilang mga projects, ikaw karon nga gisugo sa chairman or ang ikaw pa mismo chairman, ikaw din mo check kung saan man nimo paggrado. Siyempre tawagan nimo ang faculty asang rubrics ani kay project-based learning ba nimo gipahimo unsa man ako ni paggrado. Lisod kayo moingon ka sa imong chairman nga kaw na bahala na sir. So dapat let itong na-enjoy rubrics. Okay, so let's embrace the thought that rubrics are very powerful very powerful instrument for us professional teachers, okay, so that we can deliver our mode of instruction to the students in a best way possible. Okay, so that would be all and thank you.
Thank you, Sir Lloyd. Buhi pa bang tanan? Napatay workshop, charot. Joke lang. Bitaw,
Hello din kay Sir Pabilona. Hello kay Sir. Hi
yes,
Sir.
I would
Hello,
also
hello.
like to acknowledge
Hello.
the presence of
Sir, may
the,
gabi Sir.
Oh, hello. May gabi. Klaro?
Klaro kay Sir.
Okay ra. Sige.
So yes, good evening to our the Dean of the College of Engineering and Architecture, Dr. Lionel Pabilona. Thank you for that, Sir Lloyd, for that hefty discussion on why is there a need for us to really create rubrics, and why is this like a somewhat a defense tool for the instructors, and especially when we are being asked by our students how we have graded them. No, so salamat kaayo, Sir Lloyd. And napabatay mga laing pangutana, no, before tamo kuan mo proceed. Okay, please do not forget to evaluate no this session, okay, so that we can also help you in our next webinars. No, how are we going to improve? No, okay. So without further ado, let us now hear a closing message from the Dean of the College of Engineering and Architecture, Dr. Lionel L. Pabilona. Sir?
Thank you. Thank you, Ben.
Welcome po.
Mayong gabi sa tanan. Before anything else, salamat kayo sa atong Dynamics CiTL team for the information to everybody. Kaning dynamic nga team, acronym ni siya, mo ni siya atong the 7-point agenda for our university. So to Dr. Ampi Dinagsaw, the initiating this activity, Arvin Abasa for facilitating this activity also, and to my colleague in the College of Engineering and Architecture, we start with Engineer Alin Siras. Then, thank you for your welcome message and rationale. And Engineer Rogen Morcilia, for giving the concept of grading student performance, the grading policy and revised policy for flexible learning, and also the performance innovative task includes alignment in COs and POs. And also the John Lloyd Estampa. Lloyd John Estampa using the scoring rubrics for marking performance innovative tasks and exam. Thank you for all your efforts on today's webinars entitled Revisiting the Way We Mark Our Student Performance. So to the newly to the part-timers who katong na-hired na to for the past 2 years, this is the one important activity while we are tending to our students' need sa pag-assess sa ilang natun-an. Although it is practically hard doing things, labi na karon kay pandemic, labi na pagkuhan sa online, this is indeed very helpful, especially to those faculty members who are still adjusting to the new normal of teaching or in conducting assessment to the students. So, moro yun ni kani labi na ning mga daan nga maestro sa amo sa una igor ami magdala og ang mga maestro amo sa una igor ang magdala og papel suwat dayon sa problem, solve na dayon, humana dayon. Now karon kung makita ninyo labi na ning mga bata pa katong mga 50 na kaping edad, kita ninyo nana jud mga bagong mga style sa pagtudlo. Now, why we need this? Because we are going to apply the accreditation. So lisod kaayo nga kani siya usa ni siya mga importante kani siya sa pag-style sa pagtudlo sa atong mga estudyante. So I hope nga labi na ning mga part-timers nga we need you, kinalanon yung kinamo mo. So ayok nga makatabang mo nasa inyong kwan nga saan inyo pagtabang makatabang mo sa among university. So of course for the importante sa ni sa ato as faculty na tay konsensya, then and also humility. We're going to on humility kasi sometimes kita nga naiuban jud nga faculty nga faculty siya di na siya magpa-correct. No, tuwi na siya. Sometimes masayop ta, we're going to accept kay mao din na ang kinabuhi, dili ta perfect. So importante kay kana mga estudyante tuon gapon sila. Then finally, this is for all of us to be able to attain our goals despite this pandemic and to help our students to learn better. God bless us all and keep safe everyone.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, Sir Babs.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, so I believe that we are done with our session tonight, no? Huwag ka nang maayo itong pagkatulog. Sabi ninyo mag-workshop pa ta, kulbaan, no? Yung mag-workshop pa daw ta, tama na las 10 char lang, no? Pero
Takatulog ani. Let's natin.
Pero thank you so much for staying with us po. And salamat sa tanan nga nag-attend and taking this to heart because this is really an important aspect no sa ato ang pagtudlo, especially karon nga we are in our flexible learning. Okay po?
Sir Dean.
Hello.
Hello, Sir Dean.
Hello.
Buong apag, sir. Ay, nako na, si Sir Lionel.
Ano ba, sir?
Hello. Sir
Sir Bong,
Randel.
gabi, Sir Bong.
If you may allow me, no, before we close this webinar, may I be allowed to speak?
Okay, Ken.
Okay, sige. First is I would like to thank the two presenters for the very comprehensive presentations on how we assess our students' performances. So, nala ko gusto na ko nga ikuan as input lang sa especially the giving of INC, as we used to do it in interpretation mo sa INC is when if the students fail to take the examination or submit their requirements, and then we provide them the INC grade. Kuan lang ni siya, input lang ni siya. I think this is for kuan tingali ni for consideration sa the whole university system. Let's review the Morphe, no? Morphe, that is CMO 40 series of 2008. That's on section 109 no, sa Morphe nato. Okay. This is by the way, Morphe is the manual of procedures for sa higher education, private no higher education. But this is also applicable to SUCs and LUCs kay naputay CMO 30 series of 2009. So if you have time, kindly check these two CMOs kay these are very important CMOs kay because this is our Bible no, especially in running the institutions. Ang naamagod sa section 109 on the giving of INCs. Ako lang na siyang isulti na quote unquote na in case of the student fails to take a final examination or submit an academic requirement for completion of a subject or course that his or her scholastic performance is not sufficient to merit a final passing grade, an institution may, consistent with these academic policies, give the student a final grade which does not earn any academic credit nor indicates failure such as NC or no credit or NG or for no grade. Such a grade is permanent and cannot be subsequently changed, provided however that the failure to take the examination or to submit the academic requirements is due to excusable grounds such as sickness, emergency, or accident. The student may be given an incomplete mark or INC, provided further that the institution allows special or completion examinations or additional time for compliance of the requirements. In no case shall an INC mark remain for more than 1 year academic year. So mola na siya kung ikuan nga dapat tagaan ni siya o kanang favor to review this one kay this provision because Ched already corrected no the incorrect use of INC nga mark. Di pwede na to ihatag ang INC if in case nga dili siya valid ang reason. So kana lang siya akong input kay para aron ma-correct nato na siya sa atong policy nato sa school academic policy on the giving of grades. So I think that's all. Salamat for allowing me to speak.
Thank you, Bong.
Thank you, Sir Apag, for that insight. Okay, I believe that that concludes our session for tonight, and I hope that you'll be able to sleep well. And I hope nga nakapang panihapon na ang tanan, no? So we'll see you on our next nga mga sessions, no? Not only this, but with other CITL nga mga programs. So thank you so much and have a great evening.
Thank you so much, everyone.
Picture, sir.
Yes,
Picture.
sorry. Nalimutan na ako, no? Can we turn
Salamat sa
on
input, Sir Bong.
Can we turn on
Salamat,
our
sir.
Welcome sir Sir Lloyd.
Yes, sir.
turn on ta sa tong camera so that we
Sir
can
Rogin,
take
siguro
pictures.
ato
Our
sige po
staff
nang
will
input,
take
Sir Rogin. Para sa ISO.
Oh, lagi.
Sa din, ma'am, sa din. Okay na si din.
Salamat kayo sa funds niyong panahon.
Picture.
Okay, so our staff is currently taking pictures right now. Let me know. Okay
Sir
na.
Rogin, pwede na ni ko nga activity sa SEA para si QI? Hindi ba? As part sa mga initiatives para si QI, Sir Rogin, di ba?
All right.
Hindi.
Humanata sa atong pictorial. Salamat kaayo everyone and bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye po.
Salamat. Good night everyone.
Good night, everyone.
Please
Keep
don't forget
safe.
to evaluate po.
Udungan mo ni Carl.
Oo, napamasika. Sige, amping mo tanan. Kung na may mga pangutana, please ask your chairman sad ha. Nakikato, ilabi na kato inyong Google link para dito sasabihin sa inyong mga documents. Okay, thank you everyone. Good night.
Good night po. Bye.
Good night.
Good night.